Welcome to the Poke Cave. Good morning. Hopefully everybody is having an awesome morning. Make sure you have your coffee because we're starting off here. This is the live Q&A where you can ask all of your questions related to Pokemon cards, buying, selling, collecting, the market, investing, and so much more. And we're just going to jump right into it right now with one of the biggest questions that I've been getting a lot recently, and it is, should I invest in vintage Wizards of the Coast era Pokemon booster boxes? So let's just start it at the very beginning, right? Wizards of the Coast is the company that created the first English Pokemon cards. They were in charge of it all. They ran from about 1999 to around 2003 or so, with the last set being the e-reader Skyridge set. So I have some boxes here right in front of me that I could show you guys just so we can take a look and get a better idea of exactly what we're talking about here and some examples, right? So right here, this is the base set unlimited. For those of you guys that do not know, this is the first set of Pokemon cards from 1999, the original base set. And this is simply just a set that's an unlimited, meaning that there is no first edition stamp. So first edition was the first ever print run of these booster boxes. And what I mean by that is on some of these other ones here, you'll see there is a first edition stamp. So what they did in the factory was they did one print run with where all the cards had a first edition stamp on them, making them the most valuable for the most part and sought after. But you have to think here, with Base Unlimited being the first ever set of Pokemon cards, the set that we grew up with that ever came out here, this still holds a lot of value here because it's the first one ever, and it doesn't have that first edition stamp on there. But that is out of reach for so many people at this point because first edition base booster boxes, I would not be surprised if they're hitting over $100,000 easily at this point. Now, let's move a little further here. So we're moving down the line. You move into Jungle first edition. I have a Fossil first edition box here as well. So these are just prime examples of the types of boxes that people ask me if they should invest in, if they should buy or not. So let's move back a little bit after you got an example here. So when I got into Pokemon, when I got into booster boxes, when I got into buying and collecting Pokemon cards, the year was 2015. So I just want to reach so you guys can see the full scope of this. So Base Unlimited booster boxes, which again was the first box of Pokemon cards in English, these were going for around $900 or so. So fast forward now to 2020, about halfway through the year, a little bit more than halfway through the year, they're going for around $10,000. So it's a difficult question to answer because it's specific to each person and your finances, your risk tolerance, and all these different things combined. But I'm just going to show you guys really just the full outlook on it so you can make your own educated choice here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the screen. Hopefully everybody has their coffee, okay? Because this is the time to just sit back, have your breakfast, have your coffee, relax, and learn a little bit about Pokemon cards in general. We do this every Saturday morning, so make sure you come back every week. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications if you want to get involved with these. And throw your questions down below. There is a form in the description down there where you can click that link, and you can put your question in there. If you'd like, you can add photos as well. And I'll try to answer as many of them as I can today here. So what we're looking at here is the base unlimited set that I was talking about. So if you were to go on eBay right this second, the cheapest one that you can find is around $12,000 or best offer. Okay, so in English, base set unlimited, which has the original Charizard, has the original Blastoise, has the original Venusaur, all of those cards that a lot of people connect with nostalgia. And on top of that, this is the best entry point for a lot of people that are getting into Pokemon because it's the first ever English set. So you have to keep that in mind. The first ever English main series set, right? So there's so many different things that you have to think about. It's really an open-ended question. And just based on the history, we could look back, like I said, 2016, they were going for about $900 or so. Moving forward, I remember they bumped up to around $1,500 the following year. Then they bumped up to around $2,000, $2,500 around I'm going to say 2018 or so. Now, the beginning of this year, this is when things really changed. This is when things really started taking off, right? So once this whole thing happened with the world shutting down, all these collectible markets just started taking off, and a lot of people have extra expendable income. They're working from home. They're still getting paid. They're still getting their salary, but they're just not able to go out and do these things. So a lot of people started putting money into these other hobbies and things that brought them back to their childhood. Then on top of that, you have all these other people coming in, investors, and people are taking notice of these markets. And before you know it, all this explosive growth happens. So if we go to the beginning of this year, these were only going for about $4,000. Okay? These base unlimited booster box were only going for around $4,000 if we're talking about January, maybe February, okay? Then all of a sudden, so many more people started funneling into Pokemon cards and getting into it, whether it be nostalgia related, investing, or both. And a lot of this stuff started getting taken off the market, which is driving the prices up because the supply is lower, demand is through the roof. So now we're looking at base unlimited booster box growth. They're around $10,000 right now. The same exact thing happened if we look at these jungle booster boxes as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back over and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the second English set to be released was Jungle, right? So here's your Jungle booster box, and this one's in first edition. These were around the same exact price as well. They were around $4,000 at the beginning of this year. You could get them for $4,000. You could go on eBay. You could purchase them for $4,000 pretty easily. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a little bit less, depending on what's on the market and what kind of a deal you can get. Same thing happened with the Fossil, right? Fossil, the third set to be released from Pokemon. These are the OG sets if you want to get all of the original Pokemon, Base, Jungle, and Fossil, and this is in first edition. Same thing, they were going around for $4,000. Now, Fossil is still hanging down a little bit lower because Fossil, it's a little bit easier to find. For whatever reason, it always has been. It's always been a little bit easier to find. I don't know why. I mean, it's an awesome set. I think they should all be in equal value, but Fossil has always had, and that's just what it is. It's just a supply. It's just that there's a little bit more Fossil out there. So I think they're hanging around $8,000 or so. So if we actually throw back up on to the screen here and we can even search, we could just see what comes up. So if you want to search on eBay, first Fossil, and I just put it really just simple, first Fossil box. Some people don't put booster box in there. So here we go. Here's an auction that is ending, and I've looked at this one too, I believe, because you can see it on here. This one is at $6,100. It has 8 days left. This one only has an hour 22 minutes. I actually have it on my watch list at $7,300. It has a little bit of damage there, but you're looking, I believe they're going for around 8, because right now if you go on, you could buy one for $8,350. So all this basically comes back to the main question that I get all the time, and it is, should I be buying these to invest in long term? So if we go back to the supply, boxes are always getting opened up, right? Because this is my thinking, and I think some of you guys already have heard this before, but I know a lot of new people join in on these streams, and new to collecting and Pokemon cards and everything like that. But my thinking has always been with booster boxes, specifically old booster boxes, vintage booster boxes, are that a lot of you probably already know this, but a lot of you may not know this, and that's fine, right? So these things are constantly getting opened up. They're constantly getting taken off the market, going into people's collections, and they're never creating these again. And people ask this question a lot as well, and they say, well, what happens if they take Fossil Box and Pokemon decides to reprint the whole set? What's going to happen? Nothing is really going to happen if that happens, because number one, it'll never be a one-to-one. It'll never be exactly the same. You'll never get that exact card stock. You'll never get that exact, damage on it. If you guys have seen old cards and you put them next to each other, you could tell there's a big difference. But on top of that, just the fact that these are the first ever printed, it's not going to affect it. It might be like it might affect it a little bit in value, but you don't have to worry about reprints with the older stuff. So that's one thing that's really great for it. You don't have to worry about reprints. Now, when we look at modern stuff, you do have to worry about reprints a bit. I mean, you're seeing sets, and they haven't done anything crazy. Like Ultra Prism, they did a tiny new reprint, and they're not pumping that much into the market at all. There's really not much. Same with Hidden Fates. It's not enough to meet the demand, but they have done in the past where they've done just huge reprints that completely tanked markets on modern stuff. I'm not really seeing them do that much right now. We're going to see what happens with how much of that Darkness Ablaze gets out, how much of the new Champion's Path gets out in the market. But when we look at older stuff, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's literally, that is all that exists. Again, these get opened up. There's less that exists in the world. right? The demand is constantly going up. So these two factors combined are creating the prices on these boxes to continue to trend upwards. So in that sense, if you think about it that way, all you really have to decide in your mind is, do you think Pokemon is going to continue to be relative in the future? Do you think that it's going to continue to have demand? Do you think it's going to have people that are genuinely interested? Because when it goes back to it, is you need genuinely interested people that love Pokemon cards, that are very into it themselves, that want to collect it. And once these things happen, that is going to help with the demand on these items. So, I mean, if you look at, there's so many collectors out there that just genuinely enjoy Pokemon. I'm the same way. I love Pokemon cards. I got back into Pokemon around 6 years ago because I just remembered that as a child. I loved it, and it's something that I grew up with. And that's another thing, is if you are emotionally connected to these cards, if these mean a lot to you, like this box means, something like this means a lot to me, you're going to hang on to it much, much longer. I mean, the bottom line is, I don't know when or if I'd ever sell my personal collection. That's another thing you have to consider, is that you will, if you are into Pokemon, and once you do have an item in your hand, you're going to become even more attached to it. So it's good and bad, right? It's good because you're going to hold on to it. And if you think the future of the market in 5 to 10 years is going to be in way more way higher prices than they are now, then that could be a good thing for you, because then you'll look to sell it down the road. And when people think about investing in Pokemon and stuff like that, they think, oh, people just want to make money off of Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that could be the case for some people, but you also have to think there are people that want to have, they want to be able to live their life in a certain way, but they need the capital to do that. They want to live somewhere. They want to have a family. They want to support their family. They want to be able to go afford to send their kids to college. They want to be able to, do these things, go on nice vacations, have, and just be able to be safe and secure in their life and know that they have money. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that at all. So if you look down the road and you make a smart buy, and then 5-10 years later, you go and you're going to go sell that box. This is what you have to think of, is when you go to sell that box, are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to say, okay, this is Fossil Pokemon booster box from 1999. I'm going to sell it now for whatever compared to what I spent on it, and I'm never going to see it again. If I do want to ever get it again, I'm going to have to pay that price. I'm going to have to pay that price at what I sold it for, if not more, by the time I want to buy another one. So that's the one thing with the collections, is that it's good and bad to get emotionally attached to these things, right? Because it's good because for the long term, in the future, when you go to sell it, you've held on to it so long because you just love it, but can you actually sell it? So these are things to consider when you're thinking about investing in old vintage Pokemon booster boxes. And one more thing I want to hit on here is, while I have these out here, is that some people are also questioning, how come a Fossil or a Jungle booster box or a base booster box costs less than a gym challenge? A gym challenge right here. This one's actually just unlimited, so it would be less. But if you're talking about first edition gym challenge, why are these earlier ones less than that? Why are they less than a first edition Neo Revelation? Why do they cost less? Well, because supply, right? It just goes back to supply. I don't think, in my mind, I never think, oh, like, you can have your own personal choices, like, oh, this is my favorite set, or oh, that's my favorite set, it's better than that set. It's not relative, because every set has favorites. People love gym challenge. That could be somebody's favorite, and they're all across the board pretty equal. Like, you'll hear a lot of people love jungle. It's just supply. That's all it is. So if these were more difficult to find, these would be more than the Neo Rev and the gym challenge. But here's the fact, is that when Pokemon came out, 99, they were printing these like insanity, the amount they printed these. And then as these things happen, 99, 2000, Pokemon, it was in the news everywhere, everybody's going crazy. Then of course, naturally, it just doesn't go up forever. And then it started coming down, the demand and the hype on Pokemon. And that's what happens when you started getting into the gym sets, and really when you started getting into the Neo sets and stuff like that. they didn't print as much of it because the demand wasn't there as much. So what you see is you're getting a lot of these boxes. They're harder to find. And people are like, well, it's newer, so why does it cost more? Well, it's more difficult to find. They're more difficult to find. A Neo Revelation box is going to be much more difficult to find than a Fossil First Edition box. It's always been like that. It's always. And then Gym Challenge it's not crazy harder to find than these, but it is more difficult. And as you can see, like these have a higher premium. And in Legendary Collection and stuff like that. Legendary Collection, when it was released, if you guys don't know, was a set that it didn't do well. It was seen as a reprint, so they didn't print as many of those. So that's what happens. That's what happens, right? So really, when you look at it like that, that is the reason. That is the reason why these are priced up higher. It's just the supply. So going back again, just to highlight what I mentioned earlier. If there were less of these in supply right now in the market, they would be more. They would cost more, because I don't think that one set in particular has 100% or like 90% of people saying that's the best set ever or that's the best set ever. That's the cool thing about Pokemon. Everybody likes their own sets there. So, and then looking into the future, you have to look in it and you just look the risk, how much you have in finances. I would say don't do anything on credit cards, guys. If you're paying interest every month, don't say I'm going to buy this box for $10,000 and I'm going to pay it off in 12 months and pay interest on it, because that's not the best move to make. The only time I would say to do a credit card is if you have a new sign up where they give you 12 months, no interest, right? 12 months with no interest or something like that, where you're not paying interest on it. You have a long time to pay it off. Maybe something like that. But other than that, just have the cash ready and just go for it and make sure that you're financially there, able to do it, and you want to take the risk. There's no guarantee. There is no guarantee that this stuff is just going to keep going up forever. I think it's, in my personal opinion, I've always purchased sealed products of Pokemon. I've always seen I've loved it, number one. Number two, but the potential is there, just based on the fact that, which I mentioned earlier, if you're just starting up here, the supply is constantly going down and demand has been going up ever since. So that's it. You could just base it off of those things. Hopefully that helps a little bit with your guys' decision on this stuff. It's ultimately your own decision, your own risk that you're willing to take on it. But I do think, in my personal opinion, of course, this is just my opinion based off of nothing. Like, just it's something that I'm basing it off of, and it's not the answer. It's not the 100% answer, but in my opinion, I think that they're gonna keep increasing, and it's just gonna continue that. I would say at least in our lifetime, that's what I foresee for Pokemon. Because when I say our lifetime, I know that in my lifetime, I'm never gonna say, oh, Pokemon, what's that? I don't remember that, or like, I never grew up with that. We could all say that we grew up with it, or we are growing up with it in our lifetime. So that's why I put it in a lifetime scope. So that's my prediction on it. Of course, anything happens, anything can happen tomorrow, so nothing's guaranteed. But guys, all right, so that was my rant on that, because I really wanted to hit that topic, because a lot of people have been asking that question constantly, and I just wanted to go more in depth with that one. But guys, right now, if you are just joining up here, this is the live Q&A where you guys can ask all of your questions related to Pokemon cards, collecting, buying, selling, investing, and the market. So right now, if you haven't yet, go down into the description down below. Click that link. It's like the second or third link there. Put in your question. Add some photos if you'd like. It would help with the questions. And I'm going to jump in it. I'm going to start answering your guys' questions right now. Whatever it is, fill it out on that form. Do not put it in the live. And if you guys see, we got the Trainer Trey merch. Trainer Trey designed this. The man, the myth, the legend, the loyal Zard hoodie. This is sick. If you guys are interested, just check out Trainer Trey. Link is down below to his channel, as well as all of the other mods in the house. So, guys, really quickly, I want to say what's up to Steven. Julian is in here. We got Pokey Oz in the house. Mystic Mew is here. We have Craig, Hyper, Pokey907, Harry. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing you guys put your questions in the live chat. Make sure you put them in. Go to the description down below. Put them in on the form there. Click that link. That's the only way I'm going to be able to get to it, because the chat is very hard to to keep track of. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button. We're almost at 500 live viewers here. Every like helps out the channel. I truly appreciate it, guys. But let's go. We're going to get into the questions right now. To start it off, we have Noah. Noah S. with the question. This is a grading question. The question is, hey, Rev, Latios is my favorite Pokemon, and I have a Latios EX Delta species that I want to send to PSA. Ooh. All right, I'm liking the EX era. The concern with the card is that there seems to be a very small indent or some hollow mark on the right border. What grade should I expect? By the way, those Plasma Storm Charizard pulls were insane. Keep up the great work. Hey, the Plasma Storm, if you guys haven't seen the legendary box openings, that was crazy. Make sure you check that video out. The secret rare Charizards that we hit, never expected that. All right, so here we go. We have some photos here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over the screen so you guys can take a peek at it, and we're going to look at it together because as a group here, as a community, we can help one another out. So I'm assuming, first off, these are awesome cards. If you guys don't know, this is the EX era of Pokemon, which the artworks are insane. The hollows are awesome. I mean, they have so many really, really cool cards from this era in particular. Gold Stars, you name it. It's an awesome era. But what we're looking at is this Latios. So here's the Latios EX. So from this photo, I do not see anything right at the moment. So there are more photos, but we're seeing it. It's pretty decent. It's pretty good centered. It's off a little top to bottom. That's the Latios EX. Let me know what you guys think of that artwork. Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another photo. We're going to get a little closer. Now I think I'm starting to see something maybe up here. You said there, or no, maybe it's right there. Is that the indent? So you said there was an indent and some stuff going on. I think that might be the indent, but let's see if you have another photo. Yep. All right, so check it out. Thank you for clarifying. So here it is, guys. If you could see it, that is circled there. It's an indent. So what's going to happen is if you're sending it to PSA, if you're going to send that to PSA, they're going to see that indent and automatically it is going to get docked to a 6. So right off the bat, I would not expect anything higher than a PSA 6 on this card because of that indent. And if you see it, they for sure will see that. Now, besides that, you said there was some other things going on here. It's a little bit difficult to see from the photo any sort of scratching, but I'm assuming if there's scratching on that as well, it could dock it even lower. But here's your back. Now, when we look at the card, you want to look at the back as well when you're grading cards, and this back is not too bad. There is whitening on the corners, edge wear, but this back, if I were just looking at this back, I would say it's something like maybe an 8. But then you jump to the front, you see the indent. So you're looking at around it's probably going to be the 6 because none of the other stuff is probably going to push it any lower than that. I don't think that the back's not going to push it any lower than a 6. The front's not going to push it any lower than a 6. I would expect this to come back a PSA 6 because of that. Well, that's a beautiful card. I mean, just to have cards encapsulated themselves is awesome, and I think that's a totally cool thing, even no matter the grade. But thank you so much for the question, Noah, and good luck with that, no matter what you decide to do on that card. So let's see what else we have going on here. I just want to double check the chat and see what's going on. It seems like you guys are having an awesome time. We got Trader Trey's in the house. Thank you so much for joining in here. Repping the swag. I love it, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, so check it out. We're going to move on to the next question. We're just going to keep rolling here. I'm going to get through as many as I can. I'm going to do my best to try to get these questions answered. All right, so this one is from Rav Deep. What's going on? This is a buying and selling question. The goal is to be like PokeRev. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. What is your question? Hey, Rev, I've collected all the Wizards of the Coast booster boxes. Hold on a second. Guys, round of applause for that one. That's insane. That is insane. You've collected all of the Wizards of the Coast booster boxes. I mean, that in itself is like a lifetime achievement for people. So, like, huge congrats to you for doing that, for deciding to go for it. I don't know when you started collecting them or how long it's taken you, but like that is a huge goal. That's like insane. So, congrats for you for doing that and going for it. But the question is, do you have any idea what booster box I should buy next? And thank you for the help. Hey, so that comes down to, it's kind of a personal choice because it seems like if you're going for all the Wizards of the Coast boxes, it seems to me like you're going for a specific collection. So if we're looking at it that way, well, the next up logically would be EX era, but EX in itself is, I would say this, if you guys don't know, the EX era of Pokemon cards, which, do I have one? I have one up here. Okay. So the EX, I'm going to use this other camera so I can show you guys a better view here. The EX era of Pokemon. This one's Hidden Legends. Now, this is probably lower on the totem pole of actual pricing for EX era boxes because this is a set that it wasn't super popular, But this is an EX Hidden Legends booster box, and with this, the EX era in itself, I would say, is just as hard to complete as Wizards of the Coast era. It's very difficult because the problem is going back to what I was talking about earlier, is that once the 99 Pokemon's up the top of the world, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're down low. I mean, on demand, we're down very low on demand with Pokemon. In comparison to 99 2000. I mean, there's still a huge market, huge amount of collectors in there. If you talk about just in general, but in comparison, it's nothing compared to what it was. So what happens is with the EX, I'm sure you already know this, but I'm just to explain it to everybody, a lot of people here, because we do, and I'm actually curious, we do get a lot of new people here, which I want to know how many people are brand new to the channel, to this, or even just to the Saturday streams and Pokemon cards in general. Just let me get a hashtag new so we can see, because we're here to help everybody out. So whether you're new, whether you've been collecting for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 1 day, or 5 minutes even, okay? We're here to help each other out, and we keep it positive as always here. You guys are always crushing it in the chat, helping each other out. Since I can't get to every single question, a lot of you guys help each other out in the chat, and I'm seeing it as we do these, which I do appreciate. And guys, feel free to network in the chat as well. If you don't know, there's a live chat where you can interact with other people, like-minded people that are into Pokemon cards, whether it be buying, selling, collecting, any of that. There's people in there. Those are your people, right? Like, those are your people that you can jam with, and you can talk to things that actually get it. It's like you try to talk to your mom about Pokemon cards, or like your brother or something, and it's like, that's cool. But they don't get it, but like, we get it, right? So right now I'm seeing in the chat, a lot of people are saying that they're new. Like, there's a lot of people coming in saying that they're new to Pokemon card collecting. We got a lot of old and ancient people in the house too. But so just in general, like, this discussion it's to answer your guys' questions too, but it's also to broaden up the answers so that it helps other people as well. So basically, you could go for the EX era of Pokemon cards, which I can pull up here and I could show you guys, because I like to visually show you a lot of this stuff so that people can actually see it. So I'm going to switch over to the screen here. This website is called Pokelector, okay? And it has every set of Pokemon cards in English from the main series on here. So when I talk about the EX era, we're going to go all the way back. This is Wizards of the Coast era. From base through Jungle, Fossil, Gym. This is a good way to visually see these sets, because it gets confusing, especially if you're brand new to Pokemon and you're looking at these sets. You're like, what does this mean? What set is what is like whatever? Like, what is a Neo Destiny set? What does that mean? Like, so here visually you can see them in order. Okay, so when we go through, the last set was Skyridge from the East, from Wizards of the Coast era, and we move into the EX era. So this is the EX era. There's a lot of sets: 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 sets. Okay, some of the most difficult booster boxes to find. An EX Deoxys booster box, that probably one of the most difficult booster boxes to find ever created. I mean, literally, it's like insanely difficult to find these. Holland Phantoms, all these. This in itself, the cost to collect all the EX sets could be as much as Wizard of the Coast, or maybe even more. It really depends on what you can find, how much you can get these for. So if we skip that, right? If that's like a goal it's out of reach for people, then you move on. You could do Diamond and Pearl. That's an awesome set. It's still within that realm of possibility. 3, 6, 7. There's 8 sets. Okay, that's another good one. You can go for Platinum. I think all these mid, I'm gonna call them like mid-level sets in terms of like pricing. Diamond and Pearl, and like how long they've been out for. Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That's amazing. Of course, the one-off Call Legends set, and then Black and White. So you could really focus your time in these sets, because they're still on track, in my opinion, to continue to climb forward. Where to get in, it's not as crazy as like an EX era or Wizards of the Coast, but it's getting there. It's really getting there. And Diamond and Pearl in particular is still, those sets in particular are pretty difficult to find, because it's right after EX, and they're tough. Like, they're tough to find. Like, Stormfront's a little bit easier to find because it was the final set in the Diamond and Pearl era. So it's the newest out of those. But when you look in these, I would say maybe try to go for like a complete, this is just something maybe I would do. If I were in your shoes, maybe I would go for a Heart Gold Soul Silver set, or like a Diamond and Pearl, or even Black and White would be cool. Black and White is like is in a good position right now. It's older than X and Y. It was a set series before X and Y, so it's like just old enough, but just new enough, if that makes sense, to where you can like get these boxes, but it's old enough where it was before the Pokemon Go hype. It was before a lot of people got back in, so the supply is not going to be as crazy as like X and Y or Sun and Moon. Obviously, Sword and Shield, which is brand new, but so yeah, hopefully that helps you out a little bit with your question. Like, and the thing is, again, with all these questions, they're not, a lot of them, there's not one set answer. So that's where you guys can jump in and kind of, and PokeOz is saying that's what I'm doing right now. So, Mystic Mew, there's an EX Deoxys box on eBay. I did see that. Somebody else told me as well. There's one up right now. So there actually is one. I know the pricing is, it's probably not something that somebody is going to rationalize, but I could be wrong. But just seeing one on the market is pretty crazy for EX Deoxys. So I'm going to move on to the next question. I'm sorry if I don't get to your question. I'm going to do my best to get to as many as I can today, though. So, hey, this is cool. So, Batdro just says, I just want to wish everybody a happy Saturday and hope everyone is safe. I appreciate it. And likewise, everybody out there, I hope everybody is staying safe. And happy Saturday. Cheers to everybody. Hope you're having a good weekend. It's the weekend, so just relax, sit back, and enjoy this stream. All right. So we're going to move on. The next question. Craig, when are we getting that Alien Luck hoodie for sale? You keep repping in the Poke Cave. You know what? I think I might have to throw it up. I wanted to get a feel for it. It was like a test run of that. But I do have some other things in the works as well for merch. So I might throw that one up there. Thank you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to the next question here. This is from Devin. Welcome back, Devin. Thank you for the question. It's a grading question. The goal is to get my fade to Rev status. Hey, I appreciate it. The question is, first off, thanks, Rev, for all your openings over the last year. Me and my wife love watching your videos. Hey, that is awesome to hear. So thank you for tuning in. The question is, does PSA grade sealed cards? Have a few sealed promos from the Elite Trainer boxes that I'd like to grade, mostly likely 9 to 10s, but I'm not sure if I should open them or not. Thanks, Rev. And you have photos as well, so we could take a look here. So they do grade cards that are in the plastic wrap. I don't know if they do every single card. I don't know if they do this one off the top of my head. If anybody knows, just feel free to let us know in the chat. I know TCA Gaming has sent a lot of these types of cards, like the older sets. You can send it in that, and you can keep it sealed in the plastic, and they'll give you a grade based off of the seal, based off of the condition of that. Not so much the condition of the card, but it's going to be on that seal. So you could send it in like that. And I believe they probably will grade it. I can't be 100% sure on it, but it will be based off of the seal, not the actual card. So that's a cool way to do it. I mean, you're keeping it sealed, you're keeping it in the plastic, so you can do that. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. You could open it up and grade it, and like the card out of the plastic, and go for like a 10 or a 9, which I'm sure it would probably be a 9 or a 10, or you can keep it in that. But there's no wrong way to go about it. But thank you for the question. Let's see what we have up next here, guys. All right, so next question up is going to be from Steven. Welcome back, Steven. Thanks for jumping in on this live Q&A session. What I'm going to do is pull up, you have some photos here. The question is, what grades do you think these will get? All right, so I think I've seen these before, Steven. I remember you sending these in, but it looks like you got better photos. So maybe I can get a better idea, but really being in the plastic like that, it's tough. I'll do my best to take a look here. And the thing is, though, we're not going to see if there's any print lines on these. We're not going to see. The back is going to be a little bit difficult to see too, because we have a white back, we have a white border, a white background there. So if there is whitening, it's tougher to see with this. It's tougher to see with the glare. So I can't give you like a foolproof thing here, but just looking at it, I would assume this is on the plastic, on the outside of that plastic there. I think there's a second Machamp you have as well, if I recall. Let's see. And this one is just, I can't unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to. I think it's with these, you might just have to risk it for the biscuit and see how it goes. If you want to take them out of the plastic and go for it, but most of the time, just keep in mind that these cards are tough to grade in a 10. Like the Machamp is tough, so it depends what this has been through. Like if any of that got through. So this one I won't be able to give you any sort of like guesstimate because like that could be anything could be under that wrap or on this wrap. You guys can see all that scratching. So the second one I can't really tell you. The first one I can get maybe a little bit of an idea, but here's like the thing: we don't know how this holo's looking. So if there's print lines, a lot of print lines, it could drop you to an 8. I'd say you might be looking at something like a 9 just based off of what I'm seeing right now. But it's like what's under the hood, right? It's like is there more whitening over here? But the centering's not bad. Your centering, it could be within the 10 parameters. It's off top to bottom a little bit, but it still could be within the parameters. So, I mean, you might have a shot at a 10. I can't say for sure, but I would say maybe you're going to be within the 9 to 10 ballpark. It might dip to an 8 depending on how this holo looks. But that's really the best I could do based off the photos, unfortunately. But hopefully that helped you out a bit in making a decision, because ultimately it's going to be your decision. Just like with a lot of these questions, it comes down to we can only help each other out here as much as possible, and then like you're going to make the ultimate decision yourself, just like with a lot of these. So all right, let's see. Next question is from Andrew F. Thank you so much. It's a grading question. The goal is to get my vintage collection graded, and the question is, do you think these cards will get the OC grade? Also, I'm hoping the Shadowless Blastoise gets a 6. Was wondering what you think it will grade. Okay, so let's pull up. We have some more photos. And guys, that's some of the things you can ask here is grading questions. So I know a lot of people, they want to know, like, what will my card grade, or what we can kind of guesstimate it on. So we got the Porygon. This is a cool Porygon. It was a promo card in the Pokemon Stadium bundle kits. And they came sealed in like a little wrap, just like some of the other cards you've seen here. I'm pulling up some of these photos, so just bear with me here for a second. And we have a Nidoking Shadowless. We have, what else do we have here? We have some more cards. I believe this would be the back of this one. So I'm just putting them in order here. So if you guys give me 1 second, just so I can get it all out here and see. And then that Blastoise that you were talking about. So we're going to go through and look at these cards together, and we can make a guess based off of the conditions on these. So starting off with the cool Porygon. Centering is off top to bottom. That centering will not be a 10. So you're looking at least down dock to a 9. So we can kind of base it off of these things right off the bat if you're looking to grade. Now the next thing is you have a lot of scratching on the holo. There's a lot. You're talking scratching, not just print lines, but actual physical scratching on this. This would bump that all the way down to at least down to an 8 with that scratching. Then we're looking on the, I don't know if you had a back shot of that one or not. But just based off of the front here, you're looking probably just to front grade like a 7 or an 8. Okay, and not even looking at the back yet. So this one, that would be in your range on that. Now the Nidoking, you were looking to see if some of these will get the OC grade. The Nidoking, in my opinion, won't get the OC. I don't think it's off enough. I don't think it's off enough to get the off center. And OC, for those of you guys that don't know, is called off center. So when we look at centering on a card, you're looking at the borders. They're all yellow around here. And then you look at how even the amount of thickness is around here. Okay? And we look at this card. This side is way thinner. I mean, it's very obvious. So this is a good way that you guys can see centering issues. Then you look at the percentage of this centering. There's probably it's probably something like a 60-30 split on the centering is my guesstimate on left to right. I don't think this is off enough to get the OC grade. I think it would need to be over more, maybe somewhere if you guys can see my mouse, probably somewhere in this range, like probably another 10% over, another 10% or so, 10 to 15%, and you probably would get the OC. It could. I don't think it will. The back there, so everything looking, this card is probably looking something like an 8 condition wise would be my guess on the Nidoking. That's Shadowless. I mean, it's still worth grading. Then we move on to the next one is the Blastoise here. Blastoise centering is solid. Okay, the centering is actually within the 10 parameters that PSA looks for. Now, another thing is PSA, you don't need to have perfect centering to get a 10. So that's like a common myth. If somebody sees like the cards off a little bit, they'll say, "Oh, it's not possible to get 10." Well, it is, because it doesn't mean it's a perfect card. The 10 just means that it's within those parameters to get that 10 grade. If you talk about something like a Beckett Pristine 10 or a Black Label 10, that's when we're talking about like almost perfect cards. But you have like dirt specs on this Blastoise, so that's going to get docked. This when we look at the hollow, if I'm seeing dirt, I'm assuming there's going to be scratches. So we can kind of see here. And thank you again, everybody that's throwing up the high quality photos. It really helps with the process. The higher the quality you can get, the more whatever megapixels and lighting and everything that we can zoom in on, the better I'm going to be able to help you out here. And everybody else here in the chat will be able to help out as well. So we look here. Check it out. There's scratches. And this depends on how the light hits it sometimes. But you're seeing dirt, specks, and stuff. So automatically, the front of this, I'm going to assume with all... And then like there's like dirt. Like you could see like dirt specks up here. So all that automatically, you're probably talking already down to like a 7 on the front. And then the back has a lot of whitening. So when I talk about whitening, it's good. And this is a prime example. I just want to say this. This is the prime example of a really good photo to send in here. You have a good amount of lighting. You're using a black background. You have high quality photo where we can zoom in. The higher the quality, the more I can zoom in. Like on this photo, I could zoom in very far. Okay. And the black background helps a lot because that way, if you have a white background, this stuff is going to blend in and we're not going to see it as good. And we're trying to give you the best estimate here. But you see this, there's like dirt, there's a lot of whitening. So based off of the back of this, that's probably going to bring it down even more. So you're probably in like the 6 range on this card. I would say something like a 6. Oh, actually, you know what? That's funny. You did say around a 6. You're hoping for a 6. So yeah, like a 5, 6. You'll probably be in that 6 range. You're probably in the 6 range on this card. So this will be like in that. So you probably be around there. But hopefully that helps you with the grading on those cards. Let's move on to the next question here. And I'm just going to jump in the live chat to see if everybody, make sure everybody's having a good time now. Thank you guys for hanging out here. Craig, Team Trubbish in the house. Electric Type 88. What's going on, Electric Type 88? Thanks for joining up here. Great job on the channel, by the way. I've definitely checked you out for sure. So keep up the good work as always. The positive vibes is what we're going for in the community as a whole and just helping each other out. So yeah, Big Tuck TV, Jonathan, Game Max, thanks for joining up on here. All right, so check it out. We're gonna move on to the next question. Ty, what's going on? Thanks for joining up. Steven, Tommy, thanks for joining up on here. All right, so we're going to move on to the next question here. So the next question, we're getting a lot of... So today might be like a lot of the grading questions, but I love it. So you guys got here early. Just so you guys know, the earlier you get in here, the more likely your question is going to get answered because as we go on, more questions get thrown in during this live event. But feel free to always throw them in. You never know. I might be able to get to your question. But next question up, Ruben, your question is, hey, PokeRev, I wanted to know what grade my cards would get in PSA and if it's worth getting them graded. So right off the bat here, I'm seeing a base set Charizard, which automatically, I'm going to tell you, no matter the grade, yes, it's worth getting graded. So if you have if you have a lot of the Wizards of the Coast Hollows, literally, basically at this point, pretty much I would say every Wizard of the Coast Hollow for the most part. Not everyone. Like, if you get down really low in the grades, but that's the thing. Those collectors that will go for low grades, and they're looking for them because some of them are difficult to find. Like a PSA 1, some people collect 1s, some people collect 2s as well, and they're actually hard to find, which is kind of ironic, but it makes sense, right? So here we go. With Charizard, the front, the centering is looking really good. It's pretty spot on. It's a little off left to right a little bit, but it's pretty spot on. Now, when we look here closer, we're going to see that we got some dirt on the top, a lot of dirt, actually. You can see different specks all and around the whole card, actually. You have scratches for sure, all in the front there. Now, when you start getting into the lower grades, it gets harder to get the exact grade that you might get on this. But we're seeing the front there. It has a lot of scratching, a lot of dirt, but the centering is good. Then we look on the back. There's a lot of whitening on the back. Like, this is an example of a heavy played card. So if you guys are questioning like conditions, this would be something like heavy play. All right, so it's tough to say for sure, but this is going to be on the very lower spec of like grading based off of if the back wasn't as beat up, I would say not as low, but you could be maybe somewhere in maybe like the 3 range. It's tough to say when you get that low. When you're in like the 1 to like 4 range, it's tough. Like you could see it come back like a 2, or you could see it come back like a 5, or it's really tough. You could even have like indents or something that we're not seeing here. But like, let's just say it's a 4 as an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to eBay and I'm going to go on here. I'm going to put PSA 4 Charizard base unlimited. All right. And we're going to go and we're going to see, like, first off, well, I got to change I think I had something set. I had a minimum price on that. So let me zero it out. All right. So just like as an example here, we have a 4 that's up for $215, $220. So they're under 200 right now. And there's an auction up right now that has 4 days left. It's at $100. So like even when you're talking a 4 on a Charizard, you're still talking like $100, $150, $125. So it's definitely worth it because all you're really going to have to pay is like the $9 to get it graded. And then like that's it. And your card, your value, that's like the value that it's based off of is that grade of like a 4 or so or whatever. Maybe it's a 3. But that's the thing. Like, check this out. I want to see if there's any 1s up because you guys might be amazed. You might be surprised if there's a PSA 1 Charizard up, which I'll be surprised if there is. There's some sold. Let's see. See, like, there's none listed because they're hard to find. They're difficult to find. PSA 6, 4. I mean, this is a 1 that's sold for about 110 or best offer. But it's tough to say. But like a 1 could actually go more than a 4, believe it or not. Or like a 2 because there's also people that do the complete graded scale. So they want like 1 to 10. so like it's pretty interesting when you look at it that way. But you also do have some cards here. You have the Charizard Japanese. Pull that up there. One of them didn't load up for some reason, so I'll just pull up the back. But like Japanese cards for sure. I mean, once you get into this stuff, it is modern. But I mean, you have your Charizard, VMAX. So it is off a bit left to right though. These are kind of difficult to see the centering on these, like the top. They're kind of hard to see. But like even if this came back like I think it's going to be probably a 9 or something like that. So I'd still say grade that one as well. But the Charizard, I'd grade that. So hopefully that helps you out a bit there. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so cool. We're switching it up a little bit here. Goku, this is your question. The goal is to become a good trainer. That's always a good goal. The question is, hey Rev, I have 2 questions. First question is, do you think the Charizard evolution number 11 out of 108 could be worth thousands in 20 years? Okay, so let's start with the first question. So the evolutions Charizard, for those of you guys that don't know, I have pulled this up before. I'm gonna go on Pokemon Price. Oops, that's not the right website. PokemonPrice.com. So for those of you who don't know, PokemonPrice.com was made by a member of the community. So it's really cool to see this, and it's a really great website to go on to see population reports of cards, meaning like how many of these cards exist in like a 9 or a 10, as well as pricing data. It's really like a go-to kind of website, and I highly recommend it. I always recommend this website. But if we check it out on here, we can go to evolutions, right? So X and Y evolutions is the set we're talking about, and we're talking about the Charizard. So the Charizard number 11 holo, and this is one that it's very interesting. It has a lot of things going on with it. It has a lot of different things that make it super unique, and people always wonder what's going on with the price on this thing. So first of all, and I've gone over this before one time, I think once or twice maybe, but if you look at this card, there are only 150 PSA 10s, and it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Okay, because if you look at the 9s, there's almost 3,000. If you look at the 8s, there's over 1,300. Even 7s, there's almost 170 of. So if we look at that, there's close to like what 4,500 of these cards graded, and only 150 came back at 10. So to like that's like pretty much, it's kind of insanity. It's a modern card, and most of these cards, if not all of them, are straight from a pack to a sleeve to PSA, and most of them, like, your odds are that it's going to come back a 9 or an 8. Those are where the odds are at right here. If you send it in, you are very likely, I don't know, I can't tell, if anybody is a math whiz in the house right now, tell us what the percent is that you're going to get a 10. Like, what is your odds there? Like, what percentage rate? Assuming that, I'm going to assume 99% of these cards sent in were from straight from a pack. So if anybody knows what the odds are, let me know. It's got to be what, like 1%? So like for every 100 cards that went in, one of them came back at 10. So when you have something like that where the supply is low, then this is what you're going to get. So look at this chart here, guys. So if you could see, I'm cutting it off a little bit. Let me, can I zoom in? All right, I don't think, oh, here we go. Okay. So look at this. I'm going to take out the 9s. Actually, no, I'm going to leave the 9s in. I'm going to take out the 8s, the 7s. I'm going to take all that pricing data out. I'm going to show you this. Okay. So when we look at this, even from back here, when it first was released back in 2016, the cards were going for like $400 in a 10, 300, 350. Now this card's been out. This set has been out for years. I mean, it's been out for like almost what, like 4 years? It's over 4 years that it's been out. And you're seeing throughout those years, the card consistently was in the $300, $250 to $400 range. Consistently. And then once we started getting into like the new like spike of like people jumping into Pokemon, investors and collectors like crazy, it bumped in April to 500. Then it bumped just recently in June to 1,200. Then even more recently, just a week ago, we hit 1,500 on that card. $1,500 for this Charizard. So the other things that have going for it, it's the original artwork of base set Charizard. Okay, that's huge in itself. If the other thing is huge, is it's very difficult to grade. The supply of these that is very low. If you go on eBay, there's probably not even going to be any on the market. There might be one, there might be two. Maybe there might be more now that people are looking to move them because they see the price increase on them. But now the question remains, the question is, do you think it's worth thousands in 20 years? So it's already worth thousands, you know, it's almost at the 2,000 mark right now. But you got to remember, there are a lot. I can't say a lot enough to tell you how many evolutions, sealed products are still out there. And I'm sure Charizards. So when things happen like this, when cards start bumping in price like crazy, people start sending them in. So if somebody has like 50 of these, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to send all these in because even if one or two of these comes back at 10 or even the 9s at this point, I didn't even hit the 9s, but the 9s have been moving up. 9s pretty much have not been worth really anything before. You can see the pricing data here is like $30, 30, 30, 40, 30, 20, like for years and years. Then it started bumping up here. We start seeing it moving up because that's what happens. When the other grade moves up, the one below it moves up. For the most part. So we should start hitting $45. We start hitting 80. We start hitting 100. 140, 150, 160. I'm seeing a price of a 700 that's sold, but that can't be right. That has to be incorrect data. So we're talking like $150 for a 9. Now think about that for 1 second. This is why I always say evolutions is like a huge opportunity, is because of this Charizard. If you were to go on eBay right now and you bought an evolutions box for $125, all you would have to do is pull a Charizard, a hollow Charizard. And now remember, evolution's pull rates are really good. And we're only talking about one Charizard hollow, which isn't super, super crazy to think you could pull. And that's not even the only card. I mean, you have like the other Charizards, the full art. You have the reverse of this card. The card in reverse of this Charizard artwork is like $300 or something like that. And you have all these other cards. So like literally opening an evolutions booster box at this point in time, in my opinion, is smart. And like, it makes sense if you're buying it for $125 and the cards that you're getting out are worth more than the sealed, because the sealed evolutions, there's so much of it out there. There's so many sellers competing to get the sale because there's so many out there. So that's why I like evolutions for a lot of reasons, this being one of them. Okay, that's just one of the reasons why I like evolutions right now. But yeah, we're seeing that. So if we go back on the eBay and we do PSA 10 Charizard evolutions, I'm gonna try to find the hollow. Okay, it might be tough because there's so many Charizards. So like 245 results come up under sold. So I could just put in PSA 10 and I'll just go highest price to lowest because it's going to be on the higher like range here. And you're going to see staff and pre-release cards. But yeah, so this is what happens, right? You're starting to flush some of them out of collections right now because like this person has it up for $2,000, 53 watchers. This person has it up for $2,350 because they're like, okay, this card has gone up so much, like I think I'm ready to sell it. And that's what's happening. So this has 14 views an hour right now. I don't know if it's just because we're talking about it right now and people are checking it out, which it could be. But either way, this has 7 views an hour, and that's like so. So what's the next sale going to be at? Is it going to be $2,000, or are people going to start putting more in the market and undercutting each other? But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the next sale on this goes for 2,000, and then like then people are going to continuously just like start sending more and more to PSA to get graded because it's an opportunity. It's like even if you and people and they're going to be in the mindset of, okay, even if I get a 9, like even if I get a 9, it's still going to be worth it. I mean, I'm curious what the 8s are going for. So if I take this data out and I just put the 8 data, even the 8s are like $80, $75, $80, 60, 65. Even an 8's worth it. Even an 8. So let's go to 7s. 7s, even the 7s are worth it. We got 7s at like $50, $60. So at this point, any Evolution Charizard Hollow UF is worth sending the PSA. And that's kind of just my outlook on that. It's the condition. It's the condition that they're coming out of the packs. That's why they're grading low, is because they didn't, the production on them, the quality was not good. Like the quality, the cut, the centerings, the hollows, like a lot of them come out packs and they're not perfect cards. But if we look at something like, I'm not going to pull it up now because I want to move on to the next question, but if we pull up something like the Shiny Charizard GX, there's so many of those in PSA 10. I don't know, was it like 800 or something, or over 1,000? I don't know the exact number, but they're so much easier to grade because the quality control is there, even though it's a lot harder of a card to pull. And it's a lot newer of a set. I mean, it's only been out a year. This set's been out for over 4 years. So keep those things in mind. Second question is, have you ever made a loss from investing in Pokemon cards? What was that? And keep up the good work. The only loss is just selling something. It's not really a loss, but it's just selling something that not necessarily wanted to sell, and just kind of just sold it and regretted it, and then picked it up like a year later or 2 years later at the new price. But these are all things that you learn as you go along. It's very difficult to decide what to sell and what not to sell, but I can't really think of an instance where buying something and the value has gone down. But that for me has always been, I've always thought of holding on to buying sealed product because, like I mentioned, the whole beginning of this episode, I'm not going to go into that again, but just basically supply is constantly getting lower, demand is constantly going up on those. But nothing that I can really think of, honestly. The market as a whole has been going up. I can't really think of anything that's really dropped. I mean, there was some reprints of modern stuff back like years ago, but I never was buying modern stuff back then, so I didn't have my hands on any of that stuff. So, but yeah, thank you so much for the question. Let's move on to the next question here, and hopefully you guys are having a good time in the chat right now, just jumping in there and seeing what is going on. We got King Bidoof in the house. Hector is here. Pokemon Card Squad in the house. Thank you guys so much. Richard's in the house. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out here in the Poke Cave. All right, so, and then guys, let me know if you did share this video. Let me get a hashtag share in the chat, because sharing out these videos helps a ton, because it gets people that don't necessarily, they're trying to learn things. They're just getting into Pokemon cards, or they've been into it for a while and they don't know where to go to like learn these things and have conversations like this. So if you guys do share the video, whether that be on like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, where any like social media, or to family and friends, just let me get a hashtag share in the chat so I can thank you for that, because I do appreciate it. It helps the channel out as well as other people get in here, because the main goal for this is to really just try to help as many people as possible. Like we have a fun time. For those of you guys that haven't seen the channel before, we open product, we open cards, like we have like a blast all week, and then Saturday is the time when we sit down and we actually have like one-on-one discussions where you guys can learn more about this awesome hobby, and make it easier just to go about collecting, because people have these questions, and there's so many questions out there that I can't physically get to through like emails and DMs and stuff like that. So I think this is the best way so that everybody can hear these questions answered and everybody can learn something and everybody can get involved with it. I think this is like the way to go for these things. So I appreciate you guys coming here and hanging out during these. So next question, let's see. It is going to be from Sean McDonald. and is a collecting question. The goal is to build up my Pokemon collection again. Firstly, big shout out to yourself and Rhymestyle for getting me back into collecting. So thank you guys. Hey, Rhymestyle is the man. Thank you for being here and for jumping in. The question is in relation to collecting sealed products over the last few months. I've picked up some booster boxes, including Burning Shadows, Unbroken Bonds, Evolutions, and Hidden Fates tins. What other booster boxes would you recommend? I think you meant to say picking up. Oh no, pricing in between $100 to $400 range. That's a cool question. So a lot of people are getting into buying sealed product more in the modern era of Pokemon cards because it's really affordable for a lot of people and it's a really good entry point. And when we look at modern, one thing that we want to kind of pay attention to is, number one, how popular is the set? What are the chase cards in the set? And what is kind of available right now? And what are the prices on that? And kind of even more with that modern is, how old is that modern set? Could it possibly get a reprint? That's not necessarily a bad thing though. It's not, even if you have product and it does get reprinted, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, from what we've seen with Hidden Fates and Ultra Prism, it's not really been a bad thing, especially with Ultra Prism. I mean, yeah, the short term, yeah, but it's just, in my opinion, another opportunity to jump in and grab some of those boxes at a good price. So when we're looking at modern, we're looking at stuff in between $100 to $400 range. Really, we're only going to be talking about X and Y or newer. If we go back into black and white, there's not any booster boxes in that range. There's not any booster boxes in that range. I think the cheapest booster boxes are going to be probably around 1,000 in the black and white range. So that's out of the question. So now we look at X and Y, Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield, which really, you want to, when you're talking about modern, I think you really want to be looking at the sets that are very popular. They have really good chase cards and things like that. So, and even in X and Y, there's already sets that are out of that range. Some way out of that range. If you look at Flashfire booster boxes, I believe, are over $2,000. So that's out of the question. Phantom Forces is out of the question. Phantom Forces, I think, are around 800 or 900 right now. Those are out of the questions. But besides those, I think most of these sets are going to be at $400 or lower. So you said you've already got Burning Shadows. Burning Shadows is a really, really, really good set. One thing with Burning Shadows, and you have Evolutions, keep in mind is the supply on those is going to be at like some of the highest out of these modern sets, but for good reason. They're really popular. People are always opening them up too. So that's the other thing. Even though the supply is crazy, you have crazy demand for them and you have crazy amount of opening of them. All right, so keep that in mind. So because if you look at something like, I don't know, maybe like Sun and Moon Base, okay? That is a set that you don't see people opening that up all the time. But it's not going to have as much supply out there as something like a Burning Shadows or Evolutions, right? But at the same time, it's nowhere near as popular and nowhere near as people opening them up. So stuff like that, you have to keep that in mind. So once you think about that, then you want to look at these other sets. So you already had one that I would have said Burning Shadows. You already said Evolutions. I would have said that. Hidden Fates, I would have said that. Unbroken Bonds is up there for sure. With the tag team cards, with the the Charizard being in that set as well. So let's just talk about X and Y first. So when we look at X and Y, here's all the sets laid out here. So Evolutions you got. Generations is seeing crazy growth, but that's one where you can only get them in those collection boxes like Hidden Fates and stuff like that. Now, a really interesting one. So Generations it's interesting. It's very interesting. I don't know what to think of that, but it's an interesting set. So you go through here. You have Double Crisis, which is a very small set. You can only get those as well in the blisters and stuff like that. Primal Clash, Phantom Forces, Furious Fist. So you hit on most of them. I would say Flash Fire, but that's out of range. You got Evolutions. You got what else did you get from X and Y? I think that's all you got from X and Y actually. So really X and Y, like even base set X and Y is at 400, but you really have to think of what's in this set. But the thing with X and Y base though is it is really old. Like that is the oldest. That is a set. You have to think it's right after the last black and white set. So even like X and Y base pricing has been going up. I think they might even be over 400 now, just based on the fact of how much more difficult it is to find if you're comparing it to something like an Evolutions box. So X and Y base is decent in terms of like just like supply we're talking about. It has some decent cards in there as well. But if we move through to Sun and Moon, this is where it gets interesting. I think there's a lot of good choices in Sun and Moon. So, Burning Shadows you have, Hidden Fates you have, Unbroken Bonds you have. But really, Shining Legends is a really big one that's really been picking up. I mean, Shining Legends has been overlooked a lot. So I would say Shining Legends for sure. You could look at Ultra Prism. There was a reprint. There's some good cards in there. You saw a price drop. We did see what it was at. So, could it get back up there? Possibly. That might be a good time to grab them now that the pricing has dropped on those. Team Up, I think, is an awesome set. I think any of the sets with those tag team cards is really... Because you got to think, unless Pokemon comes back with those tag team cards, which who knows if they're really going to, those are like really, really unique. You got double Pokemon on those. I mean, they're, in terms of like collectability, they're awesome. So Team Up, you do have Unbroken Bonds. And yeah, guys, you let us know in the chat if there's anything that you guys could think of. But that's kind of where I'm at with those, with modern stuff for the most part. But yeah, any of the Team Up, like, Cosmic Eclipse is awesome as well. So yeah, that's just kind of like my take on the modern sets there. But really quickly, let me just jump in the chat as well. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for the share. Dragon King for the share. Mike Vegas, thank you so much for sharing. And Anton, thank you so much for sharing the video as well. I appreciate you guys, my share squad out there. That really helps a ton. So truly appreciate it. So check it out. Not Shavam with the super chat. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for being here. Left a question about vintage toys. Okay, absolutely. I'm going through the list right now. So it goes on it's like a first come, first serve, or like the early bird gets the worm type deal. So like the earlier you get into the lobby, the earlier you get your question in, the more likely I'm going to hit it on this live. So I'm doing my best to get through these as much as possible. Hopefully I'll be able to get to your question. I'm just going through them in order at the moment. So, but thank you so much for jumping in here. Appreciate seeing you. So next question is from Steven. Question is, or the goal is to invest. The question is, what modern 5 PSA cards do you think are underrated at the moment? I will follow your suggestion and make a purchase. Thank you, PokeRev. Hey, thank you so much for the question. So modern PSA cards that are underrated at the moment. It's a tough one to say. And I wish I could say I had a list of top 5 right now that I could tell you. But with PSA cards, I am not confident enough in prices of these cards to tell you something that's undervalued. I tell you guys what I personally do. So you're getting like what's going on in my brain, what I'm thinking on a lot of this stuff. And right now, I don't know. Like when I say like check out modern products, I would say stick with like the most popular cards, but keep in mind that we're on a big uptick right now. So with modern, there's always continuously going to be more products being pushed out. Like you're seeing Darkness Ablaze, people are pumped about Champion's Path, and then it really comes down to with modern in 10 years from now, how many sets are going to be out there, right? And how much of each of these sets are people going to actually care about, which I think they will, but it's tough to say. And then when we really dive deeper into like PSA cards, it becomes a whole nother thing. Because some people could say, oh, Shiny Charizard GX is undervalued. Some people could say it's way overvalued. Some people could say it's on point. And I'm not confident enough to tell you a list of 5 cards that I would say to grab. So I'm sorry that I don't have an exact answer for that one. But you guys are always welcome in the live chat to push out things that you think that might be in that range or things that might be undervalued right now. But I know something like Shining Legends has been picking up like crazy. Like the Secret Rare Mewtwo, the Shining cards in that set. But it's another thing. It just comes down to like, we don't really know. Like we can't confidently say like which card is undervalued right now. Especially with modern. If we were talking about vintage graded cards, I'd have a better answer to you for that. But modern, it's tough. It's tough. So I'm sorry I don't have an exact answer on that one, but it's all speculative at this point. So, but thank you for the question. Apologies on not having a specific answer for you. A lot of times it's kind of go with your gut, especially if you've been collecting for a while and trying to just the risk it for the biscuit mentality. If you're financially stable and everything's cool and you're willing to put up some money for cards that are graded, maybe go for it. But yeah, so all right, so Let's see what the next question is going to be. It's from Martin. It's a buying and selling question. Hey, PokeRev. I love your content. Well, thank you. I recently bought this base set theme deck, and I couldn't find actual prices. Any idea how much they go for? Paid about $100. Cool. So we have a photo here. I'm going to switch it over to the screen. And boom. There we go. So, oh, it's the gold strip. Okay, so this is very special. This is a gold strip. If you guys don't know, theme deck. And with the gold strips, they're worth a lot of money. They're worth a lot of money because you're basically guaranteed that you're going to be getting the shadowless cards out of there with the gold strip. They're very, very early in the production run. And I don't know the exact pricing on these. I could try to look up gold strip theme decks, and we'll see if anything comes up, but they're hard to find. Gold strip theme deck. Probably nothing. We got a couple. I mean, so you could just get an example. Brush Fire is at $2,500. Buy it now. $2,000 for the Overgrowth. These are just the different sets on there. And if I go to sold, so like these sold a while ago, just back in May. So I would say these prices are probably definitely outdated. So like $500 for the Overgrowth, $500 for the Brush Fire. The Zap sold for $1,500 best offer, but these are like, even in May is like the oldest pricing data basically we can get from eBay, and I would say these are definitely way off on the pricing scope, but it's you got a good deal. $100, you got a good deal, I can say that, but definitely it's worth a lot more than 100 at this point. But yeah, thank you so much for that question. Hopefully I helped you out with that. Definitely it's a good deal. Oh, Pokemon Radar says I bought one of those from Japan and it got lost. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that. But all right, let's move on to the next question that we have up here. And it is, oh, actually, we have a super chat from Ryan. Ryan, thanks so much. Hey, Rev, in the process of purchasing a complete unlimited Neo Discovery and Genesis set from a collector, you inspired me to collect again, so thank you. Hey, that is so cool. That is awesome, Ryan. Congrats on that. A complete, like, that is solid. Those are hard to find. Neo sets, a Discovery, and Genesis. Genesis is on fire right now, and for a good point. And I've always said, and it's like, I can't really, I've always said this, but like a lot of you guys probably don't know, because like I've only been on YouTube, for those of you who don't know, I've only been on YouTube for 9 months right now. I think 9. I've always said Genesis is way undervalued, like just crazy undervalued, because for some reason Genesis, I'm going to tell you, there's 3 sets that were prime examples of what supply does to pricing on stuff. Genesis, Fire Red Leaf Green, what's the other one? And Legendary Collection. For some reason, whether it just was single sellers or a couple sellers, there was always huge supplies on the market of Genesis, Fire Red Leaf Green from the EX era, and Legendary Collection. I remember vividly from 2015 or 16 to like the beginning of this year, the end of last year, you could always go on eBay and there would always be those sets, always, with multiple sellers, always undercutting each other. And with those sets just sitting on eBay constantly for like, the price to me just never made any sense. I'm thinking Genesis as like the first ever printing of Gen 2 Pokemon. The artworks are just out of this world amazing. The Pokemon are just, when they did the Gen 2 characters, it just did so good in my opinion. And like all that combined was like, it just never made sense. I'm like, why is this set so low? And it just came down to the supply. They were so much lower in comparison to like a Revelation box, of course a Destiny, for the Neo sets, but like Genesis to me was just like, I just never understood why, but I did understand why, but it still was just like, wow, like it's such a good set. But that's what it is, right? And that's going back again to like supply. And when we talk about picking up Wizards of the Coast boxes, supply. And I'm still staying true to the supply mentality on Fossil, Jungle, and even base set unlimited, is that the supply is still out there. And that's, in my opinion, that's one of the only things that holds back the pricing on this stuff. is that supply that's always available, and then multiple sellers keep going on the market and then undercutting each other. And it's just like that supply is just really the main thing, because we already know the demand for Pokemon is just like out of this world. So, but yeah, congrats on picking up those. Oh, let's check it out. Simon Pyro says, I bought a first edition Neo Genesis booster box in 2015 for just $450. Yep. That sounds about right. That sounds about right on those in 2015. I remember. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so congrats on those pickups. I almost forgot cause sometimes I start rambling and I completely forget how we got to that point. But it was from Ryan's pickup of those binders. So congrats on that. And yeah, happy to hear that you're collecting. The next question we have is from Anthony R. And the goal is to collect booster boxes from Gen 3 to present. All right, that's an awesome goal. That's an awesome goal. So we're going into like the Diamond and Pearl era. What Gen 3 booster boxes should I go for? Oh, I'm sorry, not we're talking about like EX era. Here are some code cards for anyone in the PokeCave. Hey, that's so cool. It's the first time anybody's ever done that. Dude, thank you so much. That is so nice of you. Check this out, guys. Free code cards if you want to grab them. I can't cover up the actual like code part of it, so save some for some for everybody. Just grab one if you can. I wouldn't grab them all. If that last one, I don't think anybody's getting. Unless I zoom in. There we go. We're gonna get to it. Can't. All right. Well, I guess that'll be a scan in. All right. So yeah, thank you so much for those code cards, Anthony. That's so kind of you to do. Really cool idea. But so we're talking about Gen 3, right? And really we're going into like the EX era. So it's a tough question to answer, because if we look here and we're going to go on Pokelector and we're going to talk about these sets here. So we're in Gen 3 EX era. Any set from the EX era is solid. If we look at stuff though like Hidden Fates and Sandstorm and what else? Probably those two are like the lower pricing, right? Due to like no gold stars basically. So if you look at these sets, like you can pull them up and you see what's exactly in the set, and it's really gonna dictate like pricing on a lot of these. Even though the artworks are amazing and things like that, things with gold stars definitely will help the pricing, because I mean if you look at something like a Dragon Frontiers or like a Deoxys, the gold stars are crazy in those sets. And like Holland Phantoms has amazing gold stars, amazing artworks. So it really depends. I would just go for a set that you really like. You can't go wrong with EX era. Any set you really can't go wrong. So I'll tell you my favorite sets, but the pricing is going to dictate a lot of that unless you have a really big budget. So my top 5 favorite sets, and this is just personal, like what artworks I like and stuff like that. My top 5 are going to be Fire Red Leaf Green, Rocket Returns, Deoxys, Holland Phantoms, and Dragon Frontiers. Those are for sure my top 5. Delta Species is right there for me. It didn't quite make it, but like they're so like I could go. I really would want to do like a top 10 because I love like pretty much almost all of the EX era sets. But yeah, if you guys have favorites, throw it in the chat. If you have top 5 favorite EX era sets, and can't really go wrong. You can't really go wrong with the EX era. All right, so this is from Ash Ketchup. Thank you so much. And it's a buying and selling question. With prices for first edition Shadowless Charmander PSA 10 being $1,000 plus, should I sell or hold? So that's a good question. We're going to jump on here. And if you really think about this, PSA 10 first Charmander from base, and we look at non-hollows and we look at this stuff, I remember when these cards were like, I don't know, $400, something like that for a Charmander. And if we go back to pricing data, we can just see the last 3 months on this card. So we're in the ballpark here of 1,000 plus. I don't know what these best offer ones sold for. They could probably went for over 1,000, 1,400. So we're probably in like the 1,300, 1,400 range on this card. We keep going back, 600, 500, 300. Okay, so think about this with the Charmander specifically. Remember with this market, there's a lot of people jumping into Pokemon cards. There's a lot of people that are just getting into Pokemon cards for the first time. So what they think really is first edition base set is like the highest tier, the highest like value type of cards. And then more specifically, we're talking about Charmander, right? Which is also probably one of the most popular Pokemon from Gen 1 for sure. We think about that and we think of like easy entry points for people that are jumping into Pokemon. And the first things that they go for are going to be base set, whether it be unlimited, first edition. I'm sure a lot of the people are jumping into first edition, then they want PSA 10. So they think, okay, first edition, Shadowless, PSA 10 is the highest like spectrum here of like collecting. And then on top of that, on entry point as well. So with that entry point, they're looking at the cards that they either remember as a kid or just very popular. So really, Charmander is going to be one of those cards as a non-holo, and that's what you're seeing, in my opinion, is happening with the starters. Is that people are like, oh, the original starters, yeah, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. That's my entry point. It's getting those 3 starters, and that I've already seen them. I've seen that on online on different videos on things of people that are just getting into Pokemon cards, and it makes sense. It really makes sense. So, and then it just goes to like speculating on it. Like, do you think it should sell or hold it? It's tough. Nobody knows the answer to that one. But if the market's continuing to do as it is doing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for they start going to 2,000 or more at some point. But what else the other thing we do is we go on Pokemon price. We get a larger outlook on this, a larger idea of how many of these are actually out there in existence. How many of these cards exist? Because I remember I've graded probably so many of these cards before. It's crazy, and you'd sell them for whatever the market was going for at the time. But if we look at Charmander and we go to first edition, we are at first edition Charmander, and we're talking about this card that has 647 in the population that exists in a 10. Okay, so and a 9 has 632, and then under that so really these cards you're looking at like 10s and 9s for the most of the grading. But then when we look at the population, you can actually see growth of populations on this, which is very interesting. So if you guys are interested in how many were graded in this time frame. So if we go, the furthest we can go back here is back to 2017, the end of 2017, there were about 350 in existence. So we go 1 year later to 2018, we're talking about 550 in existence. So in that range of a year, just 1 year, it went to 200. It bumped 200 higher. When you have to think about the entire history of Pokemon cards, and think like they could have been graded over the last 20 plus years, and now we're just seeing a huge amount of them jump in. But that was like when everybody was starting to realize about grading Pokemon cards. So you see a big jump there. Okay, and then we go from 2018 to 2019, from 550, we went to around 615. Okay, because the population growth slowed down because of a couple factors. A lot of people just had these probably sitting in binders, mint cards sitting around. They decided to send them into PSA. Why not? These cards are worth $300 or whatever they were worth back then. Send them into PSA. They're worth a good chunk of change. Now check this out. This is I want you guys to look at the screen. If you're listening to this in the background, you can do that too. But I want you to look at this. I really want you guys to see this. Do you see this chart has flatlined? It's actually insane how much it's flatlined. And I didn't even realize it until I'm looking at this now, because it's very important. So you saw that 2017 to 2018, when the population of 10s grew 200. Then you saw 2018 to 2019 only grew about, 60 or so cards. Then we look 2019. All right, we're at about 620 cards. No, yeah, 620 or so till now. So it's just about a year almost. It's only grown 30, not even 30. There's only been 30 this year. So what's going to happen next year? Are we going to only see 10 pop up? And a lot of these are locked away in people's collections. But you do have to keep in mind, when people see this happening, and this is a prime example, because you're asking right now, should you sell it? Because you're seeing that crazy growth in it, and you're like, okay, maybe I should just sell it now. But that's what happens. It brings people out that have these in their collections, and they're just holding on to them like, oh, when I bought this card, it was only $300. Now I can get $1,500. Maybe I should sell it. And that's what happens, and they can start going on the market. And that creates another pricing like point for those people because they're getting out of it. They would never sell it until it hit those points. And then the people that are buying in at those points would never sell it until it hit the next point of 2,500, 3,000. So keep that in mind. That's how these points happen. And then you have the pricing history to go off of on that. So that's where that happens. They're locked away in people's collections because they're not selling it. Somebody bought it for 300. They're not going to sell it for 400 or 500. There's no point. They just want to keep it for the most part. But then you see these jumps. But it's very interesting because this is exactly what some people have said, and I've said it before as well. And again, you probably can't quote me on it because I've only been on YouTube for 8 years, but I've been involved with Pokemon cards heavily for 6 years. Is the growth of populations. There's a crazy hit where 2016 Pokemon Go, everybody's jumping in. Everybody's like, oh, you can grade Pokemon cards. Then it starts, and then everybody starts weeding out all their mint cards, and it starts leveling off. But keep in mind that this is a whole new like stratosphere of even more people getting in that had no idea that are digging up old collections. So what do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think on this one. I'm trying to think of a hashtag for you guys can use for the answer to this. But I want to know if you guys think that we're going to see more growth in the population reports from 2020 to 2021, from the end of the middle of this year to the middle of next year. Is it going to be more than 30? Or are we going to see a crazy growth of like 200 added in the population because so many people are grabbing mint cards out? And then they're like, oh, these are worth a lot of money. I'm going to grade them. Or is it going to still be leveled off? Or even worse, not even 30 cards added because there's not that many out in existence. Give me a hashtag yes if you think that it's going to be a lot of growth in the population. If you think it's going to be like 100, 200, 300 added into the population port of tens, that'll be, and then a hashtag no if you think it's just going to be flatlined. If you think it's going to be flatlined like it has been, or even more flatlined. I'm really curious on that because I don't know the answer to it. I'm thinking it's. I don't want to skew. I do know what I'm thinking actually. I don't want to skew your guys' answer though. I want to know. So I'm on a delay, so I'll wait for you guys to put it in. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Rashad's saying no, meaning that it's going to be flatlined. Link Zelda's saying yes, the population is going to pump up even higher because people are pulling these out of their old collections. No, we got a lot of no's. Basie Kitchen saying no. Nick says no. Ian saying no. Richard saying no. A lot of people are saying no. And some people are saying yes too. So a decent amount of people are saying yes too. My mentality, because I didn't want to skew your guys' opinion on it, I'm thinking it's going to stay flatlined. That's my thinking, is even though people are pulling these out, there's still first edition base cards, which are really hard to find in themselves. So we'll see. We'll come back to this. Let's come back to this in a year. I'll make a note. We'll come back August 2021. We'll go to the population report of first edition Charmander, and we'll see how much it's grown. All right, let's continue on to the next question, though. All right. So next question is going to be from Shiro is the buying and selling question. The question is, does it have any monetary value to buy and collect Pokemon cards in different languages than English or Japanese? I'm from Germany and I can't get my cards graded because they are in German. So yeah, you can absolutely grab cards in different languages. I know Chinese has been growing like crazy. I think Spanish has seen a lot of growth as well. So like really Pokemon cards in every language are definitely worth grabbing. But a quick answer on that one. All right. So let's see what the next question is going to be. We have a question from Paul. It's a buying and selling question. The goal is to invest and earn some extra cash. Absolutely. Can't go wrong with that. Hey, Rev, I'm not sure whether I could ask about Pokemon video games on your channel. You can. Absolutely. If you guys have questions about video games, Pokemon video games, even video games in general, I do collect them as well. I got to do a video on video games soon. Okay. Just got into video games, collecting and wondering whether you would consider this as sealed. It didn't have the Nintendo wrap, but the seller claims it's sealed. Thanks. Okay, so let's check it out here. We actually have a link. I'm going to pull this up. So here we go. This is a listing for Pokemon Game Boy Advance Mystery Dungeon. So right off the bat, right, with sealed video games, you have to be careful. There's different things you want to look for, is things like the H seam on them, that people call it, and different seams that different games have. I'm not an expert in every single type of seal that a game should have, but this is like, you want to see this kind of stuff, like where it's around the sides there, like that. You want to see like that it's like a clean seal. You have to be very careful with sealed video games. You can get these graded and things like that. But this is a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team. So the thing is, with sealed video games, a lot of them are just cleared wrap. So I have some. I don't know if you guys could see the one back there, but that's the Game Boy trading card game, and it's just a basic seal, clear wrap stuff. So a lot of video games are just clear wrapped, and I'm not an expert on this game specifically in terms of like what the seal should look like. But it could be good. It's the Red Rescue Team Mystery Dungeon. I remember when this game came out though, and we're seeing a lot of growth with sealed video games too. I mean, it's just like crazy. And I don't even know what, like, a sealed red version is like, probably like at least $3,000 by now, the original red version for Game Boy. So it's tough to say for this exact game if it's a factory seal. But what what you can do is dig up other ones and you can compare them. So if you go to mystery Pokemon Pokemon mystery game sealed, let's do that and see what we can get. Mystery Dungeon, excuse me, Mystery Dungeon. Okay, so I mean, you can go to a lot of these and see exactly, like, I think they remade it for the 3DS, but here you have, like, here's one, and just compare them. That's what I would do. That's what I normally do for sealed video games. I just pull up a bunch of them and like I just compare the seals on them. So we look at this one, and it doesn't have, it's not going to have like a specific like stamp on it, but see, this one has this seal across. So this is one things you have to be careful with video games. You have to be really careful because see this has a seal across the back there going horizontally, whereas this one also has that as well. And what I'm looking for in this is that it looks the same to me. Like, this seal looks very, very similar. Like, it's not straight. It's like, it goes like that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times you'll see, but that's what it could be for this game, that's a specific seal that they had on a lot of them. And it makes sense because, like, I'm seeing it on this one as well. I'm seeing it on that one. They're two different sellers. We can even go to sold, and we can, like, that's what I would recommend for trying to figure out authentic factory sealed video games, is just base it off of other games that have sold, and to be careful that way. And like this one says H seam. Let me see if this one's any different. Well, this is what I would do, and this is what I do also do this, and it's the same thing. Like, it has that seal across the back there, but this one's straight. Okay, this one doesn't have that jagged look, but it could be fine. It could be fine. It's based off of different factors, like which factory it came out of, when it was put together. I mean, there could be a run of these where it had that jagged for a while and then it didn't. But like, we're seeing that, and then the one that you show me doesn't have it. There's no seam. So I'd be careful with this one. And I can't say for sure yes or no. You know, but the thing is, this is also not, this might be PAL version of it. So that's the other thing. Like, maybe PAL, like, see, it says Europe on the side there. Is this like a PAL version, I'm assuming? So that's the other thing, is this came from probably a different, yeah. So this came from a different factory, so maybe they didn't do the H seam. So it's very tricky with sealed video games. There's forums and stuff like that you can go on and check it out, but I don't know for sure on this one. I would say it's probably okay, but I don't know. But like, then we look at the, you know, the version here that we had in the USA, NTSC or whatever, and it's just the seal's looking good on these as well. So that's how I'd compare the sealed video games. Hopefully that helps you out a bit. And I don't have an exact answer for you because I'm not 100% sure on it, but I would compare the PAL versions. Do that and see what you can come up with. And you can buy them graded. You know, buy graded video games and they authenticate them. All right, so next question up. Let's see what we have here. I actually have, I'm going to jump on here because we have a couple super chats. So let's see what we have. We have FYC Boxy with the super chat. So I opened Charizard VMAX. Someone offered me $150. Should I sell it before that? The second that. I don't think that the sentence was completed there, but so yeah, you got offered $150. So Charizard VMAX, I'm assuming it's the English one from Darkness Ablaze. Guys, if you already saw it, I mean, let's be honest, the card is a lot easier to pull. It's a lot easier to pull. It's not as difficult to pull as the Hidden Fates. It's nowhere near as difficult to pull as the Hidden Fates. It's nowhere near as difficult to pull as the Rainbow, the Rainbow Charizard from Burning Shadows, right? So that's one thing I keep in mind, okay? Charizard from Darkness Ablaze VMAX, and I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to touch on this. It's a lot easier to pull. There's a lot of people opening it up. There's a lot of people hunting for the Charizard. That's a card where I think the supply is going to be high, and I think the PSA 10 supply is going to be very, like, out of this world high because, number one, the quality on them is, like, astonishingly good from what I've seen. So when the quality is good and you're getting cards that are coming out that most likely are 10, like the one I pulled, that looks like a 10 to me. Like, I was considering sending it to Beckett, and from what I've seen that other people have pulled their Charizards, they all looked really, really good and like Beckett candidates. And on top of that, it's a lot easier to pull than the Rainbow from Burning Shadows, than the Hidden Fates one. So I think the supply on those is going to be really high, but I can't, obviously none of us can predict the future, what they're going to sell for. So it's really up to you. If you think it's worth it to sell your Charizard for $150, go for it. But just think, in terms of like monetary value, do you want that in your collection? Okay, would you be happy to sell it, knowing that if you were to acquire another one day, how much would you have to pay for it? You know, would you have to open like 3 booster boxes to pull one? Would you have to pay more than $150? Do you want to keep it? Do you like? It really depends on a lot of factors, but I can't give you like an exact answer. It's really just comes down to what you're going to decide on it. So it just depends if you like it in your collection or not. If you just want to sell it and move on. I don't know if they're going to go up, down, what the case is going to be. I'm assuming right out the gate, people are going to be trying to grade Beckett 10s, black labels. They're going to sell for a crazy price maybe, and then they're going to see that there's going to be a lot more coming on the market. So be very careful if you're speculating on Charizard VMAX. That's all I could say is be very careful on that. And then we have H2 with the super chat. Thank you. Hey Rev, sorry I'm late. Had a rough night. I just picked up a base set blister, a jungle blister, and a Neo Genesis blister. I'm wondering if you would be willing to sell me any other blisters. Well, first off, congrats on the big pickup. Base set, jungle, and Neo Genesis blisters. That's awesome. So currently I'm not selling any blisters. I do have a collection of base, jungle, fossil blisters, but I tend to hang on to that stuff because I do really like it for my collection. And there's a lot of things that I do have in my collection that you guys haven't seen yet. I haven't gotten around to showing you a lot of that stuff yet because it's just things that I know a lot of times when I show these things, people will ask if I would sell it to them, and then I feel really bad because like a lot of this stuff that I have is in my personal collection. I truly enjoy having it, and I don't want to sell it. But with that being said, we can always try to help you find these things on the market online. So you know, you can always hop on eBay, take a look. The hunt and the thrill of it is probably the best part about that. But at the moment, I'm not currently. And that's the other thing, though. So with your message there's 600 people in this live right now. There could be somebody in there that wants to sell blisters from that set. So guys, do your networking. And if any of you guys are selling them, there you go. H2 is looking for those blisters. So hopefully we can help you out with that one, though. The Emperor HD is in the house. What's going on? Thanks for joining up here. 10 Skyridge Crystal will you think will ever be at 15,000 each? I think so. I do. That's my quick answer. I do. But yeah, let's move on to the next question here. Next question is from A-SAF. This is a grading question. The goal is to collect all promo cards. That's awesome. Hey, PokeRev, I always enjoy your content. I bought most of these cards 15 years ago from a guy with a full set of base to Neo. I never came around to grading them as I wasn't sure, and I still don't, if I want to sell them. Should I grade them or not? Is grading just for selling, as $18 per card and 7 months to wait on the return isn't cheap? Thank you. All right, so first off, no. With grading cards, it's not just for selling. There are people, prime examples of people out there that only collect PSA cards. So number one, with grading a card, you're going to preserve it. It's going to go in that it's going to go in a nice encapsulation. A lot of people love holding PSA cards in their hands, having the grade on the card, and things like that. So there's a lot of reasons to grade your card. It's not just to grade it and to sell your card. The other thing is that $18 per card, it's actually not totally accurate if you're sending in a bunch of cards. So you could get it down to like $9 a card if you're doing like bulk submissions, or if you're sending it through different grading third-party companies as well. So, but yeah, you're right. You're probably going to be waiting at least 7 months at this point to get those back. But you do have some photos on here. So I'm going to pull these up so you guys can see exactly what we're looking at here and what, like what cards we're talking about. And whoa, there's some fire here. So check this out. We got some really nice stuff here. The Shining Mewtwo Unlimited from Destiny, Shining Celebi, Shining Charizard. These are some really nice looking cards here. Alakazam Gold Star, the stamped Pikachu, Yellow Cheek. Wow. Yeah, some really nice stuff here for sure. Let's see. We have another photo. We can check out the back, I believe. All right, so check it out. First off, I'll just tell you my short answer is, yeah, grade these. Definitely worth grading them. Okay, now maybe not 100%, yeah, because you don't know if you want to sell them, and that goes back to my point that I've mentioned a lot before during the stream. It's like selling these things, they mean so much to us, so it's tough, right? Do you first of all, if you really need the money, I would say maybe consider selling them. But if you don't need the money and you like them and you truly enjoy them, maybe hang on to them. So the short answer on these is it's worth grading every single one of these, basically, no matter what the grade comes back on them. But I could tell you your cards are pretty clean for the most part. Like this, but this one up here has a lot of edge wear on the top, but like a lot of these are looking really nice. So like you could have a lot of these cards could be like 8s, 9s. You might even have a 10 here or there. That Shining Charizard's I mean, the centering on these is nice for the most part. These are clean cards. And I mean, you'll see if you grade them, you'll see a really big increase in value on them. You can grade them, you can always grade them and then just hang on to them as graded cards. But if you like them loose like that too, I mean, by all means, there's no wrong or right way to go about it. So ultimately, it's going to be your choice. But that's an awesome collection that you have there. Let's move on to the next question. All right. Let's see. Allie. Question is, I have got 10 X and Y Flash Fire sleeved blisters right now in my collection. Would it be best to save it to sell late, or would it be best to sell them now? That's a good question. So Flash Fire is, like the name says, it's on fire, right? X and Y is a pretty modern era of Pokemon cards. I mean, it's not the oldest set out there, right? It's pretty modern, but it has a really, really big selection of Charizards, which pumps the value of it up like crazy. I mean, it's an insane amount of Charizards in a set. So if we pull this set up here, here's the set. You have a lot of Charizards. They're just everywhere in this set. Secret Rare Charizards, Mega Charizards, like just everywhere. So it's a really, really popular set, mainly because of that. The name is awesome as well. And we're still seeing increases on Flash Fire. My opinion is Flash Fire is going to continue the upwards trend. So, and this is just like my personal opinion on it. You guys can always chime in live chat, but I would say hold on to them. That's my personal thing, is I would say hold on to them because it's sealed, and we go back to sealed, right? Sealed stuff always gets opened up. There becomes less of it that's out there. Supply always is continuing to go down. Maybe not available supply, meaning like what's available on eBay at a given moment, but supply in the world is always going down. So I would think that I would hang on to them. If those were my 10, I would probably be hanging on to them if I were you. But you can never go wrong. If you need the money or you just want to sell them, whatever the case may be, you can always do it. You can always sell them if you think the time is right and put that money into something else that you want. So no wrong way to go about it. All right, so the Hughesman grading question. The goal is a full graded base set. That's an awesome goal. The question is, would you recommend using third-party grading companies to save money or just send in yourself? Which one is safer or better? So this is kind of an open-ended question here. With grading companies, so there's third-party companies out there that will middleman the cards for you. They'll put them in I think they even put them in the card savers. They send them out. They have their own special rates, lead times and stuff like that. So they handle it all. They input it. They do the work behind the scenes for you, and they get the cards back and send them back to you. So I don't think there's one right or wrong way to go about it. Personally, I grade all of my own cards myself, mainly because I just like handling my own cards. I know the process. I've done it a million times. And for me, I'm a little bit of a control freak. Just a little bit of a control freak when it comes to stuff like that. So I just personally like doing it myself. I have my own PSA membership, so I get the bulk rate. I mean, I pay for it every year. I pay for the bulk rate. Now, I don't know what a lot of these guys are offering in terms of pricing. Like, you might actually end up getting a better price if you go through them, because they have special rates through PSA where they have to hit certain amounts of cards per month to send in, and they get these special rates for the most part. So, I mean, if it's easier for you, just get your cards, put them in a package, send them off, don't have to think about it again. Which in that sense, it's worth it for a lot of people. Even for myself, I'd love to just put them in a box and send them out to somebody and just not have to deal with it. So I could see that working as well, but not really one correct or incorrect way to go about that. I would say if you're not familiar with the process and you don't feel like dealing with it, send it into a third party and maybe even have better rates from them. I don't know their rates like off the top of my head or anything like that. I just know right now the bulk rate for Pokemon cards is $9 a card. So you have to consider that when sending your cards in. And that's with a paid membership as well. So you have to pay for the membership on top of that. So you go either way. You really could go either way. I don't think there's one that's safer, though, or better. I think either way, depending on your certain circumstances. Next question is from Ross, a buying and selling question. The goal is just got back into cards, so just want to complete a modern set for now. Trying that with Rebel Clash. Awesome. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. So a nice way to start off there with the Sword and Shield Rebel Clash. Question is, do you ever buy modern sealed stock just to keep for the future? Surely it can only go up in value, even if it means sitting on stock for a decade. I have a lot of Champions Path ETBs on the way from my distributor. Should I just sit on them? So going back to sealed modern product and if you should hang on to it or not, really, like I mentioned earlier with modern, I tend to stick with stuff, and I do purchase stuff like that, and I tend to stick to the ones that are the most popular, have the best chase cards, and things like that, and then of course dabble in some of the other sets as well, just to have some of them in the collection, both short-term to open and long-term to hang on to, because a lot of it, like we've seen, is just continually going up no matter really what the set for the most part, unless there's a big reprint. But then again, we saw the big reprints years ago on some of the modern sets, and they worked their way back up. I mean, it just goes back to supply and demand, right? Always having these boxes opened up, always continuing down. The only thing that I question, I guess, with the modern is, with Pokemon, there's always going to be more and more sets coming out. So, like, in 20 years, how many sets are there going to be of Pokemon cards? And can everybody keep up with each set? But I think they can, because then you have people that connect nostalgically to sets. So, like, people are growing up right now with Sword and Shield. People are growing up with X and Y. People are growing up with all these sets. So it hits other generations. That's what Pokemon has going for it. It hits every generation, which is crazy in itself. But yeah, that's the big question. Champions Path ETBs, should you hang on to them? With ETBs, historically, we've seen only a certain amount of those printed, and then that was it. And like the Hidden Fates ones, I mean, they just have been climbing ever since. I think they're like $250 now. The ETB with Champions Path, for those you don't know, has the full art V Charizard card inside there as a promo card in the box. That's going to be huge. You got the Gigantamax Charizard right on smack on the front of that. The colors are nice. It's got the Champions Path packs in there. It's going to come down to a lot of different factors, but I think those are going to be really hot. And I think they'll probably end up going up in value just based on what we've seen before. Personally, that's what I think. Unless there's some crazy thing where Pokemon's just always making these available for like years, the ETBs, which I really don't see happening. But I think probably a good idea to hang on to some of those. Let's see what the next question is. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button. We got over 600 people here. I think our likes are a little over 200-ish. I can't really see them. My screen's kind of cut off there. But if we could pump that up to like 300, 350, that would be really awesome. It would help get the video out to more people so we could help other people that are getting into Pokemon cards and really kind of like just make sure people are doing things in a way that like there's no right or wrong way to go about it, but just making maybe the best decision that they can, whether it's just collecting or investing or whatever the case may be with that kind of stuff. So let's move on to the next question. All right, so let's see. Hayden C., your question is a grading question, and the goal is to assemble a stellar collection. That's an awesome goal. The question is, I picked up a decent haul of vintage cards and packs at an antique mall yesterday, and all the cards seemed pretty much to be pack pulled and sleeved with no wear. I wanted to show you the base set Charizard and Zapdos up close to get your opinion on what you think they might grade. Thank you so much for all you do. All right, this is awesome. So first off, congratulations on the huge pickup yesterday that you got at an antique mall of all places. Oh, wow. Okay, you guys got to see this. This is why I love when you guys send photos in. This was just yesterday at an antique mall that Hayden C. picked these up. And that's not everything because we got some more photos here, or it might be everything and just close-ups of some of the stuff. So that's crazy. Like, I love, that's the other thing. Guys, if you have cool stories like this, send them in. Even if you don't have a question for that story and it's just really cool, like you want to share the information with everybody, I love hearing this stuff. So definitely like send those things in on the form too. But like I love that you shared this with us because this is actually really cool. And we have, first of all, we got a lot of old school packs of Heroes, Gym Challenge, Jungle. We got some Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that first edition or unlimited? Yu-Gi-Oh! Blue Eyes White Dragon Blister. Oh, it's unlimited. I think they didn't have they never had first edition lob boxes and blisters, but that lob packs in blister form. That's awesome. That is sick. I love that. And then the cards you have as well, you picked up Gyarados, Alakazam, Zapdos, and our boy Charizard. So a really nice haul, finding a local deal there. So here's our Charizard. So we're going to take a close-up look here as best we can. Thank you for the black background, too. That definitely helps. So we got a bunch of scratches on the front there. This you got a little bit of a hollow bleed, if you guys can see that. It's right, I don't know if, I think you can see it. It's right there. That's awesome. Wow. So you have a little bit of a hollow bleed, which is really, really cool. Cool to see that. But Charizard's centering's pretty good. It's off top to bottom, though. So I think it's too off to be the 10 centering, so it's probably a 9 centering. Then you have the scratches on the collar on top of that. So front-wise, you're probably at like an 8, but then we want to look at the back, and I believe this is the back of the Charizard. So actually, it's really not bad, not too bad. You have some whitening. You might have an indent. That might be an indent right there. So if that's an indent, I think it is, it would bump it down to a 6. You do have scratching on the back of the card, too. You have whitening, but it's not like crazy, crazy bad whitening. If there's no indent, you could be looking at something like a 7. You could be looking at something 7. If there's an indent, you're down to like a 6. So you're probably in like that 6 to 7 range on this card, which, I mean, that is awesome. Because if we go back to eBay and then we look at PSA, we do like 7 Charizard base unlimited. And then we look at the Charizard from Base Unlimited that's sold. Let me go sold recently. Recently they've sold for $365, $315, $350. So you're talking about like $350 or so on that card just in a 7, which is really cool to see. So congrats on that big pickup there. I just want to pull it up one more time so you guys can see how crazy it is. If you're just joining up here, I love those stories. Hayden picked up all this stuff just yesterday at a local pickup. I forgot. You have all these down there, too. You have a Dark Charizard, Flareon, Hypno, Chansey, and Ninetales at the bottom as well. That's crazy awesome to find locally on that deal. So congrats. Oops. I don't even know if I switched my screen over. But yeah. That's pretty cool. That's an awesome score, says Trainer Trey, right? A lot of you guys think, yeah, it's cool. um, really awesome to see that. Just like take that in for a second. Like that was a local pickup, and you can only guess what the price was paid on that at an antique type mall. You never know. You never know how people price stuff out locally. All right, so the next question is Dreaming to Reality. It's a buying and selling question. And the question is, or the goal is to collect sealed full champion series singles. The question is, my friend wants to make a sealed purchase. I said Evolutions and Burning Shadows both have Charizard. Is there any other set that can still be bought that are worth buying sealed? So yeah, I actually mentioned that earlier. Burning Shadows is awesome. Like you said, Evolutions, Unbroken Bonds, Team Up, Hidden Fates, Shining Legends. Those are just some of the sets that come to mind that are pretty solid pickups, in my opinion, of course. But we never know what the future is going to hold for stuff like that. But that's just what I would say. All right, so let's see what the next question is. All right, so Sebastian, collecting question. The goal is to invest long-term in Pokemon cards. The question is, hey Rev, now that Ultra Prism is reprinted, do you think that it's good to invest in a couple of sealed booster boxes, or could it now be overprinted? Thanks. So Ultra Prism, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. We didn't go like super in depth on that one, but for those of you who don't know, Ultra Prism was reprinted very recently, last month, and prices kind of dipped down. And I actually haven't looked into the prices on them in a little while now, so I can actually pull this up on here, and we can put in Ultra Prism. I guess people are looking to see if these are leveling out or what's going to happen, or if they're still dropping. Last I saw, I think there were around 200. I'm gonna say 250-ish. So Ultra Prism ended recently. Let's see, 175, 176. So yeah, these are 180, 86. These are still continuing to go down. But you got to remember, the reprint was not crazy at all. I barely was able to get any of those boxes, and that's at distributor level. So keep that in mind. So if we go to Ultra Prism booster box, we go highest to lowest, and we're seeing a lot of people are putting them on the market, which, I mean, it makes sense. People are trying to move them right now, and the prices, they're fighting each other on pricing, and that's what happens, right? We're seeing a lot of these hit the market, and there are a lot. I mean, there's a lot more than what was before previously, and a lot of it also is people getting it at distributor level, and they just naturally move the product out because they don't hold on to it. They just buy it and sell it, and it makes sense. So we're going, there's a lot. There's actually more in the market than I expected, but it makes sense. So Ultra Prism, we're still going. So we actually have right around the 175-ish mark. That's where it cuts off. 175 right now seems to be the market price on these. We got a lot on auction too, or a decent amount. So 175, and the question is, do you think it's good to invest in a couple of sealed booster boxes, or could it be overprinted? So Ultra Prism, you have to think about what's in the set as well. It's not like the craziest set out there. It's definitely not in my top sets to that I usually recommend, but it's not a bad set. So really, now a lot of people are afraid that have those boxes, I'm assuming, and they want to move them and just get rid of them. But we've seen this before, and then the price, goes down a lot, and then eventually starts building back up as people buy them from the market naturally, and then the supply dries up. So I can't say for sure. It's going to be something that it's definitely something that you're speculating on. And I think the price, just looking at the market right now, my instincts telling me that the price is going to bottom out more. I think we'll probably get down to 150, maybe 140. I'm thinking that's where it's going to start to bottom out a bit, around that 140, 135 even maybe. That's what I'm thinking. I would if you're looking to grab some of these, I might hold off a little bit more and see where it goes, because I'm seeing a lot on the market. I'm seeing more coming on. I'm seeing people fighting on the price on those. I would say if you're trying to grab them, hold off a little bit. But if you want to grab them when it bottoms out, it might be a good idea. But obviously, we don't know for sure. Misenko with the super chat. At work, listening to PokeRev in my ear. Love you, bros. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate you being here and sneaking in the AirPods at work. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully it's helping the day pass by a little bit. If you are, stuck at work, or whatever the case may be. Next question is from, let's see, Ryan. It's a collecting question. What's the best modern booster box to invest in? So that's a good question, and we did kind of touch on that one a few times now. But Evolutions, Burning Shadows are some that I pick up. Team Up, Unbroken Bonds, Hidden Fates, Shining Legends. Like, those are pretty popular sets for the most part. Move on to the next question though. Maurice with the grading question. The goal is to become a world champion table tennis player. Yes, I know it's off topic. Hey, no, that's awesome though. That is so cool. Become a world champion table tennis player. You guys have all kinds of talents, and you know what? Share that stuff. I like hearing that kind of stuff. So the question is, how much do dirt specs deduct from a grade? I have this awesome Vaporeon Skyrich Hollow, but the only thing is it has like 1 or 2 dirt spots. You could try to get them off if you're very, very careful. But if it's like just like stained on there, you're probably not gonna get it off. But sometimes they're like, if it's like actual physical like dirt or something, you can kind of like try to get it off a little bit with your nail, but you have to be very careful, or even like a Q-tip or something. But there's not like a set amount that it takes, that it deducts off of it. But if you have like a mint card, usually if there's dirt, there's usually going to be scratching as well, or like whitening on top of that, and it just kind of goes hand in hand. But if there's just dirt somehow, then maybe try a little bit to see if it comes off. Don't do anything crazy, like don't use any sort of like solutions or anything like that, or wipe it with anything. But if you just think you can maybe kind of get it off a little bit, give it a shot. If it's not on the hollow, if it's on the hollow, I wouldn't mess with it though. But there's no set amount that it deducts on that. But if you have like a mint card, it'll probably drop it a grade or two. All right, so let's see what the next question is gonna be. Hopefully you guys are having a good time again. I appreciate you guys coming to hang here in the Poga Cave for this live Q&A. Guys, if you don't know, we do this every Saturday morning. So come hang out here, have a good time, and just learn all things Pokemon cards. All right, so the Poke Hall with a collecting question. The goal is to collect things that make me happy. That is an awesome goal. Cheers to that. Collect things that make you happy. The question is, do you think Evolutions will see a similar trend to base Unlimited Charizard, since it's so nostalgic, in 5, 10, or 15 years? So we actually did get this question earlier, and I did go over it in depth. So I would definitely check out. If you didn't see the, you probably did see it since this question got in pretty early. But if you didn't see it, go back after this live is over to when we hit on that Charizard, and you'll see we went really in depth on that one. But there's a lot to it, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting card, long term, to think about, and even in the short term. All right, so next question is from Adam Miller. It's a collecting question, and the goal is to collect them all. Hey Rev, recently I started collecting boxes, the Japanese version. I noticed some of them contain first edition stamps. Do you think this is going to affect their value in the future because of this? So you have a picture as well to see, because I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. Okay, yeah, so okay. We're talking about the Japanese X and Y. So these were such a limited run that the pricing on these has gone up quite a lot. So if you look at X and Y evolutions, we can pull it up on eBay. Let me go back up to the top here, and we can put in Japanese. I'm just going to do Japanese evolutions box. And I'll put Pokemon because we got Yu-Gi-Oh coming up for tactical evolutions. All right, so I haven't checked the prices on these in a while, but they're like the cheapest one on the market right now is $350. So these are much more limited than the US release, like the first edition. They're like crazy limited. So that's why the pricing on these is a lot higher. We can go to End It Recently, and we could see 280, 350, and I don't know exactly how many packs are in these, but I don't think it's not 36. It's not 36, but like having a first edition stamp on it with the Japanese is really good. The more limited something is, right, that means a lower supply. So I don't know exactly. I've never opened one of these before. I've never owned one of these before either, but I know that these were, very limited. So it's definitely something. It's Japanese modern can be really good in terms of like limited availability and stuff like that. So definitely something to keep an eye out for sure. Let's see what the next question is. I'm going to double check the chat here, make sure everybody's having an awesome time, keeping it poke positive as always. All right, so next question is from Rashad. It's a grading question. And the question is, do you think graded packs are worth a significant amount more than loose packs? For example, a PSA 10 gem pack of Expedition versus just a loose pack. So yeah, I mean, the market is kind of like dictating what that pricing difference is. And when you look on the market, there's big differences in prices of graded versus loose packs. So keep that in mind. I don't know Expedition. I don't think there's going to be any on the market. I could be wrong. Oh, there's one up on auction right now. So I'm going to switch over. So eBay likes to try to guess what you're thinking of, and they think that I'm talking about the Expedition, like the vehicle. So they said find your car or truck. But no, we're talking about Pokemon cards. So there's actually on auction right now a 10 Charizard. So, this is a love or hate type of thing right here with the grading. These were never created for Pokemon cards. These are made for wax packs. And what happened with Pokemon cards is they put them in here and they actually fold the packs. So you can see like they're actually folded in here. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people don't mind it. It's really like there's a lot of different opinions on it, but I won't get into that really deep right now. But right now, this says at $255 on auction. There's 40 watchers. It still has 4 days left. And I would assume this would go for a lot more than a loose Expedition pack of Pokemon cards. So if we go Pokemon Expedition pack, and let's just do that. And I mean, we look at these. These are all the good thing about these is they're not weighed in these 3-pack things, but they're like 900 for some. This one's at 550. This one's around 500 or best offer. But it's a loose pack, so this one's at 400. Being loose, high chance of it being weighed as well. So you can't really compare specifically that from a box, like a pack for each from a box. These ones you can more of, but like a Feraligator's up for 900 right now. Buy it now. Just in general with the market, you tend to see graded packs go for quite a bit more in PSA 10 versus a loose. But we're talking about packs in comparison to ones on the market, which you have to always assume for the most part are weighed. So you're basically essentially you're comparing PSA 10 pack to a weighed pack on the market when you're looking at market eBay prices. Unless there's like a really, really trusted seller on here. But hopefully that helped answer your question. Let's move on to the next one. We have... all right. Justin M. This is a buying and selling question. The question is, I collected cards as a kid, but my mom gave them all away. Now as a 20-year-old, how do I even get into buying and selling, and which sets should I buy? So this is a question that would require definitely like a lot more in-depth conversation. So I can only base it off of knowing that you're 20 and you don't have any cards right now and you just want to get into Pokemon cards. So just in general, continue to come here to the Saturday live Q&As. Again, if you don't know, these are every Saturday morning. So every Saturday morning, you can look forward to these, and you can come and just pick up on these things, like pick up on that, pick up on this, and just take it all in like a sponge. Take everything in like a sponge that we talk about here. Get in the live chat, and just that's the best way to go about it, is to learn and just educate yourself as much as possible, and you'll pick up if you've been watching this from the beginning until now, you probably picked up on a lot of things if you're that new to collecting. So there's not one way to go about it. Just keep in mind and continue to watch on the live Q&As on Saturdays. And I'm curious which cards your mom gave away, because you said you're 20. So I'm going to assume maybe you grew up with, I don't even know if you grew up with the EX EX era. Maybe you grew up with like Diamond and Pearl. I'm curious what of those cards would have been. See, because we're seeing people jump back in. Since you're only 20, you're jumping back in from generations of maybe like Diamond and Pearl. So that's what I'm saying is like each of these is generational. So now you're seeing like all those people jumping in now from Diamond and Pearl in that age range that want to get back into those sets. This is exactly what we're talking about with like growth, because people jump in. They jump back in from when they were a kid. Like you remember this as a kid. Your mom gave them money. Now you want to get them back, right? So that's kind of how that works out in the long run. All right, let's see what the next question is. We have question from Mika. I think that's how you say your name. Mika is a buying and selling question. The question is, I have an offer from someone to buy 400 Jungle First Edition Commons, Uncommons, and Non-Holo Rares for about $1,000. All near mint to mint. First, would you recommend I buy them? And second, would you recommend I grade them all? Okay, so yeah, it really depends. If you think any of them are pretty much going to be like a 9 or a 10, I would grade them. So basically, all you have to do is calculate best case scenarios and worst case scenarios. If you're getting a lot of 10s back, even 9s at this point are worth it on non-holos. But okay, keep in mind, so you're going to be looking at about $9 grading fee per card. So 400 times 9, you're talking $3,600 just in grading fees, not including like insurance and shipping back. So you might be at like $3,700 on the actual grading fees. You got to think about your selling fees, which isn't that big of a deal because on eBay, you're getting exposure to the biggest market of collectibles and collectors and everything like that. So it's worth it in that sense. But with Jungle, what we can do now is now that you have that, there's 3,600, another 1,000 on the grading, you're at 46, 47. So you might be at like 47, 4,800 in cost. So keep that in mind. So you're at $4,700 in cost on 400 non-holo cards. But if you're saying, I would, if they're pack fresh, if they are pack fresh, okay, first of all, I would make sure they're pack fresh. But if we go Jungle first, PSA 10, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull that up on the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to, first of all, let's just see the market. Right now, it's pretty crazy. There's only 137 PSA 10, 144 PSA 10 Jungle cards that are on the market, including holo cards. That's, to me, it seems very low. It seems very low. And that's not even all, because some of them are packs, and I'm sure some of it isn't even graded cards, because some people just put that in the title. So, like, there's a bunch of loose cards at the bottom here. So you're probably talking there's like 130 graded first edition Jungle cards on the market right now. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go to sold just to get an idea. You're talking, you said commons, uncommons, and rares. So like this card, a lot of this stuff does blow my mind because I just remember what these were going for just earlier this year and to now. Like this 10 Pokeball, a basic Pokeball in a 10 is going for $75. Then one went for $46 on auction, $105 for a Vileplume on auction, $178 for a Pikachu first edition, $180. I mean, it makes sense. It's a Pikachu. It's one of the first ever Pikachus in first edition Jungle. Butterfree, $168 on that. The Rhyhorns, $43. Pinsir, $91. Eevee, that one, $260 on the Eevee. My gosh. $347 on the Vileplume. Non-holo. $400 on the Snorlax non-holo, $200, $300. So some of these auctions ended just a few days ago. So like you're seeing my live reaction to these. My mind is pretty blown on a lot of this. Jolteon, $300 for a non-holo. Woo! What do you guys think of those prices? I did not expect that. So I can tell you right now, it's probably worth it. It's probably worth it. So we go to 9s. And it's crazy because even the 9s now, $40 of best offer sold on a Scyther. $24 on a Bellsprout. I mean, these are prices that 10s were going for earlier this month. And it never made sense to grade 9s in non-holo Jungle cards ever before. Until now. $35 on a Mime. $115 best offer on a Pikachu. $80 best offer on the Jigglypuff. $20 plus shipping on a Goldeen. So you're seeing even the 9s are 100% worth it. So if you think all those cards are going to be 9s and 10s, it's a really good, I mean, it makes sense in this market. Now the question is, what's the market going to look like when you get your cards back? Are there going to be an astronomical amount of graded cards on the market because PSA is so backed up and so many people are grading? We're going to see what happens. I honestly have no idea. I couldn't tell you if the market's going to get flooded or not, but I think it's a 50-50 shot because there's so many people that are continuously just grabbing these cards when they come on the market. I really don't see it, but then you have to think of, are people going to be getting out of this hobby once the world gets back to normal? So many questions. There's so many unanswered questions that nobody knows the answer. We can only speculate. But now I'm looking at 8s just to get an idea. And it's like even 8s, like this Scyther was $57. Their best offer sold for a non-hollow. 8, a lot of these are hollows because most people don't really grade non-hollows in 8s. So 8 is like, even at a worst case scenario in an 8, you're still getting like most of your money back, like 11 plus $4 shipping. So it's like even 8s, you're still like, it's not like you lost money on 8s. So I think you're getting 9s and 10s mostly, probably worth it. I mean, your cost per card is only, you're talking $1,000 divided by 400, $2.50 cost on card. You got to talk about your $9 grading fee, so you're at $11.50 cost plus shipping is probably like $3 to customer. So your cost is about $14 I can't talk. $14 plus your eBay fees. So I mean, in pretty much every instance on here, it's been more than that price besides some of the 8s that we had come through. So depending on the grades, depending on what the market looks like, you're probably going to be worth it on that. All right, so let's see what the next question is going to be. We have, let's see. Mike Vegas, Poke Hunter. Just wanted to say thanks again for inspiring me to get back into collecting. I got my channel up and I have 2 new videos. That is so cool to hear. Congrats on the channel, Mike Vegas, Poke Hunter. Hope you, wish you continued success and hope you're having a good time with it. Steven with the question. Hey, I was wondering if people from the UK could buy packs from your pack openings and take part in the monthly pack opening. Thanks, Steven. So people from the UK, it's absolutely open worldwide. If you're interested in grabbing packs for pack openings, no matter where you are in the world, you can definitely grab packs. So feel free to jump in. All right, so next question is going to be a grading question from Lamar. It's the goal is a Ninetales PSA Master Set, which is awesome. Ninetales PSA Master Set. So I'm assuming Ninetales is your favorite Pokemon. So check it out. So we have some old school Top Sun cards. If you guys don't know what these are the first ever Pokemon cards. These are blue backs. They had green backs as well, but this is, I got to put it on the screen so you guys can see it. That would help. But here it is, Ninetales. And these are the officially the first ever Pokemon cards to ever be made. So they're old. They're very old. I think it's like 96 or something on these, or I forget the exact date, but we got a Ninetales. So these are crazy, like with the borders and everything, how they made these. A lot of these borders do get yellowed over time. The backs do get yellowed over time, but so there wasn't like real like big quality control on these whatsoever. We're looking at the back on here. It looks like you might have a bend. You have a bend there. So that's going to dock you down to a 6 for the bend. So you might be at like a 6. You're probably at a 6 because of that bend. It's a pretty clean card, pretty well centered. I mean, as long as that's a bend that I'm seeing, which I'm assuming, I think that's what you're showing me there right here. Unless it is just the light, it's tough to say. If it's not the light and there's no bend, you could be looking at something like a 9, an 8. But if there's a bend, probably something like a 6. But good luck on your goal, your master set of Ninetales. I think that's really awesome. But let's see what the next question is going to be. All right, so Matt, this is a buying and selling question. The goal is to get the community opinion on Lugia First Appearance cards. All right, Lugia First Appearance is awesome. For those of you who don't know, it's from the Topps sets of Pokemon cards. The one with the Lugia on the box. What's your thoughts on Lugia first appearance Topps cards? I have a PSA 8 and wondering in your opinion of value. None are on the market. So this is a card. I'll tell you now. It's very difficult to. It's really difficult to price. I can tell you that. But it's a first appearance card. They had these in the Pokemon the Movie 2000 Topps boxes. They're really difficult to pull. I think there's like 4 first appearance cards, and they're difficult to pull. I mean, they have the Lugia. It's first appearance card. It's really like, I think they're awesome, but it is Topps, so there's a whole different type of like market on those. Pricing, I can only speculate on what somebody's willing to pay for it, but I will say if this is probably going to be the most expensive card in that set. I know Rhyme Style has been looking for one, so if you're looking for a figure, and I would maybe hit him up, shoot him an email, and see if he's looking to purchase it, and just see what he's willing to pay on it. That might be a good way to gauge interest in it. But with no pricing data on them, it's tough to say. It's really tough to say. But I wish you luck with it, and maybe I don't know if you're looking to sell it or not, but either way, it's a solid card. It's a really cool card. All the way back from the year 2000, so it's old as well. It's vintage. It's got a lot going for it. All right, so next question is from Liam Jeffries. It's a market question. The goal is to find the best value for unbroken bonds. To find the best value for unbroken bonds. The question is, I noticed booster boxes are 400 Canadian dollars for unbroken bonds, but 3-pack blisters are 21 Canadian. This is working out to almost half the price for 36 packs. Am I missing something in regards to the pull rates? No, you're not missing anything in regards to the pull rates. It's just people like to have booster boxes. They're easy to store. They're the most sought after type of sealed product in terms of that sense, because when you get into blister packs and things like that, it pieces it out. It takes up more room. It's not as it's just not like you can't just hold it in your hand like a booster box and have 36 packs in it. So you will see stuff like that, like sleeved blisters, 3-pack blisters, like checkout lane blisters, all that stuff, sealed products of modern sets. They're going to be less expensive in those other forms. For multiple factors, but you're not missing anything. You're not missing the pull rates. If you're looking at it just to buy per pack price, you're going to get better deals for the most part on stuff like the 3-pack blisters, the sleeve blisters, and things like that. But that's just how the market is right now. Next question. Mike Vegas with another question. It's a buying and selling question. Do you think it's a good buy for Burning Shadows booster box at $250? I mean, we've seen them continuously go up in price on Burning Shadows specifically is one that's really been breaking out. All we can really do is kind of look back at the pricing data from on eBay over the last 3 months. So what I'm going to do is pull this up and we'll just take a look and we'll see what they were going for. They were going for a lot less than that. Burning Shadows booster box. They were going for a lot less than that months ago, but this is the current market. So it's like you either get it at the current market or you just pass on it and see what happens. But so we're seeing one just sold probably right now for about $230. This one actually went for $300, I believe, if that's correct. $240. So but we're in like the $250 range. But if we go back and we look back, we can kind of see what exactly the pricing was. So going back, we're going down to $225. 200 even just a week or two ago. I mean, this is how fast this stuff is moving, guys, when we're talking about prices on a lot of this stuff. Going back into July. So there's a lot of, I need to, all right, I'm going to continue going down here. I'm going to go a little bit faster so we could, because there's a lot of Burning Shadow stuff that's sold that's not booster boxes. What I can do is I can actually, if you go to the side, you can actually narrow it down by price. So like the cheapest thing I want to see is going to be like $90. So I can kind of gauge it a little bit better and get less results. So we're going back to mid-July. They're around $200. Around $200 to $210 or so in mid-July. We go back even further. June, we're talking $185 at the end of June. And then we go back even further than that. We're talking $145 in the beginning of June. $140. We go back even more. We're at $120 in May, $110. The furthest I can go back here is I see some that are around $100, $110, all the way back in the beginning of May. So that just goes to show you the growth on those. It's been crazy. For for a box that went double and a half since the beginning of May, where they were about $100, and now they're at about $250. What we can do now is we can go on the market right on eBay, and we can see what the lowest priced Burning Shadows box is. So we're going to go down 250, 250, 235, 220. This one's damaged, so I wouldn't even count that one. So the cheapest Burning Shadows right now is about $230. Free shipping, $235, $240. All right, so right in there, $230 to $240 on a Burning Shadows booster box. Should you buy it or should you not buy it? Can't tell you the exact answer on that one because it's highly speculative. There's a lot of Burning Shadows, like I mentioned, and it really depends on how much people are buying these and what the current supply is on the market at this time. We can only speculate. I don't know. It could be worth $500 in a couple months. It could be worth the same $250 in a couple months. It could be worth $200 in a couple months. It could be worth $150. So we don't know. It's with easy entry point with modern, right? With an easy way to access and get in on it, means high volatility. So like it's very like that's why you're seeing high volatility with it. Like you're seeing huge gains, but you could also see like big drops on it as well because there's so much more of it out there. There's so many more people involved with it. It's tough to say. It's going to be one of those things where I can just give you the thinking behind it, and I can give you the data, and then you go in and it's like you make that decision for yourself. So best of luck with it, and yeah, best of luck with it. So the question, your name is Who is Alan? Alan the Alien. I don't know if that's your name or not, or if it's just Who is Alan is your actual name if you're asking about Alan the Alien or what the deal is. But the goal is to get the best grades as possible. My question is, hey PokeRev, I heard that you should grade unlimited base set Charizards no matter what the grade is. If it would get, I was wondering what you think this card would get. Many thanks. All right, so check it out. We got a base set Charizard from Alan. And let's see what the condition is on this one. It looks like it might be a really good one. So here we go. We got this base set Charizard, and you said, hey, I think I've been hearing that it's pretty much worth grading a Charizard no matter what the condition is, a base set unlimited Charizard. And to answer your question or answer to back up what you said, yeah, it is pretty much any single grade. If you're talking monetary value on it, it's worth grading it in any grade at this point. So front of the Charizard, it looks pretty well centered. It's off top to bottom. It's probably out of the PSA 10 parameter for that. That's looking more like a 65-35 split or so, maybe I would say on that grade or on that centering. Then we can zoom in further and we can see there's some scratches. It's hard to see because there's not a super amount of light here, but there's definitely a scratching going on. So you're probably looking at, just based off the front, down to like an 8. Then we look on the side view there. That's a nice view of the card so we can see a little bit better. The back has a decent amount of whitening. So we're looking at this card. We're looking at all the whitening on the edges, the borders, and things like that. The bottom has a lot. You're probably looking like, based off of that, in like the 6 range, I'm going to say. Maybe like that, probably that range, because the front's it's pretty nice on the front. It's not too bad. So you're probably looking at maybe like a 6. And I mean, we did do pricing checks on these, like 6, I think we were in like the $300 range or something like that, $350. So yeah, it's worth it, because loose like this, it would not sell at that price when you grade the card out, because there's people question, what it actually would get at PSA, and then they always go a lot lower than what the grade would actually be for the most part. Although the market is really competitive right now, so it's tough to say 100%, but yeah, definitely worth grading that one for sure. Really quickly though, I just want to welcome Chipmunk's Slots to the PokeCave Explorer membership. Thank you so much for joining up on that. Make sure you check the community tab for updates and different things for members only. So thank you so much for jumping in. I appreciate it. All right, so next question is from Steven. The goal is to invest in a Pokemon set, and the question is, do you think it's a good idea to invest in the new set, Darkness Ablaze? So, got to be careful with brand new sets, Darkness Ablaze, especially, like we said, pull rates on the Charizards are a lot easier than Hidden Fates. It's a lot easier than Burning Shadows. And with that comes a lot more supply of Burning Shadow of not Burning of Charizards on the market. And when it comes to that, price will be lower. Um, and on top of that, the condition of the cards, from what I've seen, is really, really good. So you're probably going to get a lot of PSA 10s of those on the market. You're going to get a lot of Beckett Pristines, a lot of Beckett Black Labels even. So in terms of that, you have to think this is fresh set, like not even out yet. They're going to have tons of booster boxes on the market and things like that. And it might even be at like Evolutions, where it was such a popular set that they printed so much of it. And like it's been 4 years and Evolutions is just now starting to go up in price. But people held on to those boxes for years and years with no gains on them at all. I would wait it out for Darkness Ablaze. I wouldn't be like stashing away booster boxes of those. I wouldn't be stashing away stuff like that right now. I would probably, the only thing with I would keep an eye on is like Champion's Path, because that's like another one of those Hidden Fates type sets where limited products you have to open up collection boxes. The Elite Trainer boxes are really looking nice. I would probably look more like on the Champion's Path and wait out Darkness Ablaze, see what the market does, see how much is out there, see what's going on with it, see what's popular, see how the pull rates are, and get a sense. I wouldn't just go crazy in it, but at the same time, it's like when you're buying it at either if you're buying at distributor level, it's not that big of a deal, because I don't see it like going less than retail anytime soon. So it's like you're safe in that sense, but like you're also locking your money up long term if you're putting it in that. Alex P, you're up. You have a collecting question. The goal is to invest in Hidden Fates packs. The question is, I've been buying Hidden Fates booster packs from Collector's Cash and was wondering if it's a good investment in buying loose booster packs, or would it be better if I bought the tins and boxes of Hidden Fates? So I think Collector's Cash, I think I looked and I saw they had Hidden Fates packs for like, I think it was about $10 a pack. So I think you should probably consider buying the tins, because I think the tins are like 40-ish. Yeah, I think they're about 40. So if you can get the tins for 40, I would buy the tins, because number one, you're guaranteed that the packs aren't like tampered with or anything. So loose packs, people always are going to be questioning if that's an authentic sealed pack, if it's been weighed or if it's been tampered with. So that's one thing I would just be careful with buying loose packs. Now, if they're in like a blister or a sleeve thing, that's another story. That's fine. But the other thing is, if you're paying, from what I think they're going for is $10 a pack, you're better off buying the tin at 40, because you're getting the promo card. All the packs are inside that tin. The tin adds value. The packs being in the tin also on top of that is adding value. I would go for the tins. The boxes, like those collection boxes of Mew and Mewtwo and all those it's tough, because those prices are based off of the limited availability of it being like, Pokemon only printed those boxes and they never reprinted them. They're only reprinted the tins. So collection boxes are kind of like, it's tough to say what's going to happen with them. People are buying them just purely because it's a cool, unique collection box. So definitely I would stick to the tins if I were, instead of buying the loose packs. This next question is from Tom. It's a collecting question, and the question is, how do you feel about trophy cards? You know what? Trophy cards are like the top of the top. I mean, trophy cards, if you're talking about like the Pikachu Illustrator card, if you're talking about like all these really old school trophy cards, even the trophy cards of like the the Charizard V and VMAX cards that are just recently being awarded, they're awesome. I mean, trophy cards are like the top of the top. You have limited availability on them. You have a lot of times unique artwork. We know how many are that exist. You know what event they came from. Somebody actually won that trophy. You had to, like, they have trophy cards literally have like everything going for them in terms of collectability. You can't just go and pull it out of a pack. I mean, there's just so much to trophy cards. That's why trophy cards hold the highest premium. If you want a Pikachu Illustrator card, there's only a very few amount of those that exist, that were printed, that are left, that are on the market, that you can attain. Yeah, like it just, everything with trophy cards is like, that is like if you're looking for like the definition of like collecting and what people look for when they're collecting and like rarity and everything combined, it's trophy cards. Like that is like the top of the top. even really higher. They're like it's up there with first edition base. Depending on the trophy card, could be higher or on point with it, but that's like just the rarity alone. There's so many things that are involved with trophy cards, but yeah, trophy cards are where it's at for sure. That hoodie is sweet. Where'd you get it? Says Josh Williams. This is the Trainer Trey hoodie, the Loyal Zard. Check it out, Trainer Trey. Link is down below in the description to Trainer Trey's YouTube, and you can just from there you can take it and go to like his description. I think trainertrey.com actually. Just go to trainertrey.com. You got all the cool merch there. I had to grab one of these. I mean, the man is very talented. Drew this masterpiece, and I get to wear it here in the Poke Cave. So, next question up is going to be from Michael S. The question is, what is your opinion on Cosmic Eclipse set? Do you have any plans to do an opening in the future? So yeah, like we said, we're going to be opening every single set here in the Poke Cave at least once. So we'll definitely open every set. So if we go back here, we can go to Pokelector, and I can pull the set up of Cosmic Eclipse. We can kind of look at it together. So Cosmic Eclipse, where are you? Right there. It was the last Sun and Moon set. So it's a cool set. I mean, first off, we did open Cosmic Eclipse actually. So I'm sure you can find that on the channel somewhere. But I think we opened it, right? I'm getting lost. I'm getting confused now. I'm pretty sure we opened it. I'm pretty sure because it's an awesome set. But Cosmic Eclipse has like the tag team cards. It has so much like just a lot going for it. All these gold cards. The art, like just the artworks are so cool. Just so cool. I mean, you could sit here and look at all these like just all day. Look at that. Like I love Cosmic Eclipse. It's definitely up there in one of those sets that I say for sure is like one of the more modern sets that I would say definitely grab. You know, grab a couple boxes or whatever. Because it's a great set. The Blastoise and Piplup are awesome as well. I mean, like the Pikachu with the Ash. Like this is the stuff that you look for. Is amazing artworks. Like all kinds of different chases. I mean, like look at that. Lieutenant Surge with the Magnemite. It doesn't like this is art. This is great artwork and great pull, different types of rarities and all kinds of stuff. Like great set for sure. I'd love to open this up again. I'm like 99% certain that we did open this up, but I'm starting to like lose track of some of the things that we've opened. It's not that old of a set either. Really, it's pretty new. I mean, it hasn't even hit a year yet. It's an awesome set though. Definitely an awesome set. But let's move on to the next question here. And again, I'm trying to hit as many questions as I can here with you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you put your question down below in the link in the description. That's how you can get your questions answered. Of course, the earlier you get here to the live, the more likely that your question is going to get answered. Because I do have a lot more questions here that I'm not going to unfortunately be able to get to every single one. But the good thing is we do it every Saturday. So let's see what the next question is. What is your most valuable card in terms of emotional value? This is from TCG Hidden Fates. You know what? It's going to be the first time I ever opened up a base unlimited booster box when I first got back into Pokemon cards like 6 years ago. One of the first things I purchased was a base unlimited booster box, and I opened it up and I pulled all three: Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. Graded all the holos. Got back the trio. And I have had those on display in my office ever since. And those mean the most to me emotionally because that was like the first time jumping back into Pokemon cards. Like the first time I ever picked up a base unlimited booster box. I mean, really the first time ever because as a kid, you'd get a pack or two every week on the weekend or something. But like, and opening up all 36 of those just was like the craziest, coolest, nostalgic thing I think I've ever been able to do. So I have those three starters. They all came back 9s, which is cool. I mean, the grade doesn't matter to me, right? It's the emotional value of actually like pulling those. I never pulled Charizard as a kid from base set. I think I only pulled Venusaur. I didn't pull Blastoise either. It was just like Venusaur. I remember Mewtwo and maybe like a couple other. I didn't really pull many holos as a kid from base. So that would be it for me. So let's see what the next question is going to be. Okay. This is a question from Matt. It's a buying and selling question. What's your opinion on buying sealed Nintendo DS Pokemon games? I think they're awesome. I mean, all sealed Pokemon video games have just been going up and up, but in terms of like the nostalgia factor, in terms of like having a original sealed product and everything like that, and Nintendo DS stuff, I mean, it's getting up there for sure as well. Like it's before like the big rush of people like grabbing like all these older video games from, especially from those eras. So definitely, like definitely, absolutely. And I the only thing I'm kind of like, I wish I grabbed was I was buying a lot of old school vintage and sealed video games and even like open loose video games back. This was last summer. I was big into it. Like if you go on my Instagram, Pokemon underscore revolutions underscore cards. I know it's a long one, but that's, by the way, that's where PokeRev comes from. I know a lot of people are like, what is PokeRev? Like, where does that come from? Originally, when I started in Pokemon cards, I was just known as Pokemon Revolution. Like, that was just my name. And then when I jumped on YouTube, I decided to just like chop it down. And I started getting known as PokeRev. Like, people would call me Rev or like PokeRev for short for like, for a while there, for, ever since like probably like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And then, like when I jumped on YouTube, I was like, let's go with PokeRev. I just like how it sounds. But yeah, go on there. And if you go all the way back to like last summer, I was posting a lot of like my like vintage video game collection. But like it just, everything takes time, right? Like research time and things like that. So I was really big into it over the summer for the most part. And then my time was like getting very limited as I like started doing more and more with Pokemon and then like the channel and everything like that. But like I regret not picking up GameCube games. I love GameCube games, but my collection is mainly Nintendo 64 and Game Boy. But my next on my list was GameCube, and I was gonna get to it, and then like I just got completely just so busy with everything. But like you're seeing like all that stuff is just like going up in value like crazy right now. So I think it's still a good time to jump in on a lot of this stuff, and a lot of stuff is generational. So it's like the NES, like that generation was collecting that stuff. The Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, like the Game Boy, then the Nintendo DS, all that stuff is like generational. But Pokemon, it spans through. So like even though I haven't played every single Pokemon game, I'd love to have like the complete. That was another goal of mine that I got sidetracked with, and I didn't. I'm still gonna try to do eventually, but I never got to complete that. But having every sealed Pokemon video game that would be amazing to me. I have a bunch of them, but I definitely nowhere near all of them. But I think it'd be awesome. I mean, it's really like, it's just with the sealed stuff, as we always say, it's like supply, demand, people jumping back in from their nostalgia. Yeah, it makes sense to grab the games, the Pokemon games. But yeah. But then when we get into like super modern stuff, like the Sun and Moon games and like the Switch games, I don't know. I mean, that at that point, it's like the cat's out of the bag. There's going to be people hanging on to those sealed games. They're going to be people buying cases of them and putting them away. So it's like, I don't know. Like sealed Pokemon cards is completely different than sealed video games, modern video games. When I say modern, I'm probably just talking about mainly like the Switch, that's like really when people started picking it up. And even like the Wii U could be like, there's good games to pick up on there and the Wii and stuff for sure. But like Switch, like that's like a complete, like, it's like the cat's out of the bag type thing when like everybody's like, oh, you can like, when it spans like so many, like such a mass amount of people in the world that like realize like, oh, like this stuff is like collectible. Maybe I'll buy like a bunch of Switch games. Like maybe I'll buy like a case of them and hang on to them. It's like, I have no idea about modern, like the future for those. It could be like really high supply, but you never know. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world. That's all I can say. There's a lot of people in the world. Everything is limited. So they print the games and then, they make the games and eventually they don't. That's all I could say. So next question is going to be from, dun, dun, dun. Next question is from, this thing's not loading. Come on. There we go. Okay. Cameron, this is a grading question. And the question is, the goal is to collect the most damaged vintage Pokemon cards. See, there you go. This is the prime example of you just collect what you want to collect. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. that like you're saying your goal is to collect the most damaged vintage Pokemon cards. And that goes back to like when I said, remember I said earlier that PSA 1 cards, there's people looking for them. I'm sure this is somebody that may be looking for those, or at least the condition of those cards. And those could hold a higher value than like a PSA 4, because a lot of times the 1s and 2s and 3s are actually more difficult to find, because that's a pretty beat up card. And you haven't really seen me say it on when people ask for if their cards, what they'll grade. You haven't really seen me say like 1, 2, or 3. Like I don't think I've ever said that. So on any of the cards that we've seen here. But the question is, what is the lower grading limit for grading companies like PSA? Is there a certain amount of damage that they won't accept even for a PSA 1? I'd like to collect PSA 1 cards, but I'm not sure if they will get rejected or not. For example, here's my most damaged card, my first edition Lugia, which I assume would get rejected. So like, just for example, if a card is ripped or like missing part of the card, they're not gonna grade it. I think that's like mostly what they look for there. But what I'm going to do is I'll pull up your photos here, and ooh, that is a damaged card. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually really cool to see. If you guys want to check this out, this is a Lugia first edition Genesis, but like it's legitimately like looks like somebody like grabbed it and like squeezed the edge of it, and like the actual film on the front of the card is ripped off, and there's definitely like part of the card missing, and like the back of the card is missing. So PSA, they're not going to give this a grade because it's actually missing part of the card. So that's like something where to get a PSA 1, it's like tricky because you need like enough damage but not too much, is where they won't grade it. So like they won't grade this one, they'll reject it. So just mainly just make sure that like the card is not missing chunks of the. That's really cool to see the back of that. So if you guys want a close up, I guess that's what the inside of the card's looking like. Like the hollow film and everything is coming out there. That's cool though. I mean, like I said, you just do your thing, and you know, maybe not grade all the cards that you like in bad like the ones that are in the really bad condition. Just throw them in a sleeve. Well, I guess you don't really have to sleeve it because no, I'm just kidding. Throw it in a sleeve, and you're good. And yeah, that's pretty cool. But the next question we have is from Arius. Or I'm sorry, this is actually a super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Have you seen the new Magic Double Masters VIP booster boxes? Imagine if Pokemon did something like that. So I think what you're talking about is the, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but the VIP booster boxes are, I think they only have like a couple cards in them. Or they're like really expensive. I don't know the exact specifics of it. I don't think Pokemon's going to do anything like that. Pokemon right now is mainly focused on the player and just collecting as many kids and even adults into it, but not so much as like the sports type of thing where it's like one card is in a box. You guys let me know in the chat if it's like a couple cards or whatever it is, but I don't see them doing that. But with Pokemon, it's more like they'll do like exclusive drops, like for the 25th anniversary. I think it's going to be crazy awesome. And like in Japan specifically, or Japanese releases, they'll have like limited stuff that's just like really cool and unique. Like the briefcase, the rocket briefcase. I always kick myself for not picking those up. Or like the gold Pikachu, I kick myself for not picking those two things up. But that was back when I was like relatively new to Pokemon card collecting now, and I didn't think to pick them up, and I was considering it, but they're so unique and cool. I think they'll do stuff like that, but not so much as like those Magic type VIP box. Somebody said it's 30 cards, all foil cards. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so it's like really like crazy stuff like that, and where the price is like really high on it, geared specifically towards the collector. I don't see Pokemon doing anything like that. It's an interesting idea for sure, though. But guys, we have enough time for one or two more questions, and then we're gonna have to call it here because I actually got to get going to the post office, grab some stuff, get some stuff shipped out, and everything like that. But let's grab this question from Austin, a market question. Let's see. So, hey Rev, why is Shining Legends so much easier to find than Hidden Fates, even though it came out long before Hidden Fates? I assume it's due to the demand, but why doesn't the Pokemon company just reprint a bunch more Hidden Fates to try to meet demand? So actually Hidden Fates is getting reprinted. If you didn't know, it's coming out soon, about a month and a half. So with Shining Legends, it just wasn't it came out at a time where people weren't really paying attention so much to The subsets, it came out, it's like 4 years ago, and it wasn't during a time when people were really like super crazy amount of people in Pokemon. So you had that, you had like, it just kind of like went under the radar. But now we're seeing it not go under the radar, and a lot of people are picking it up. And actually, we're doing an opening on Shining Legends, if you guys don't know, on Thursday. So they're gonna be getting over. You'll be able to see the cards in there. So if you are interested, make sure you watch on Thursday that opening. It's gonna be fun, for sure. But and on top of that, it is a small set, so keep that in mind. But every pack has at least a holo. You can get there's shiny cards. There's and the artworks on those are awesome. I mean, there's secret rare Mewtwo. There's a lot of there's cool stuff in this set, but it just went under the radar. It really just went under the radar. But now it's picking up as like an alternate set to Hidden Fates. But next question is gonna be from Dylan, asking, where do you purchase your Japanese cards? I get pretty much everything off of eBay. You can try Yahoo Japan. Yahoo Japan, you need like a middleman and stuff like that, which I never got into it because it's a lot more work to grab stuff from there. But you can go on there as well. And then next question we have here, we'll do one more question here. Let's see. Ramsey King is a grading question. The goal is to know what card to grade value-wise from X and Y evolutions. So what cards from X and Y evolutions are good to send to PSA? So all the Charizards for sure are good to send to PSA from X and Y evolutions. The full art Charizard, the holo, the reverse. Those are like the top cards in that set that are going for the most money. But really what you can do is, all you have to do is just go on eBay, right? Go to PSA 10. Evolutions, and we're going to take out Japanese, so you do -sign Japanese. We're going to take out staff, because we don't want any staff cards, and we don't want pre-release, so we just want cards that you can pull out of the Evolutions box. We can go to sold, and we go to highest. We'll just do the highest, so we can see like the highest priced cards. Like there's going to be Charizards, like we're just going to see Charizards. There's a Gyarados that actually sold. The Gyarados is hard to grade, so that one for sure, 350. I actually didn't even realize that. Charizard, Gyarados. I guess, Gyarados is one of the nice holos in there. Then you have the Mega Blastoise. I mean, really any like the ultra rare hits. The Charizards for sure. We're still seeing Charizard. Like a lot of that it's pretty much mostly going to be Charizard. Then we get down to under $100, and that Mew is pretty nice. The full art Mewtwo, the full art Dragonite. But just like in the Mega Blastoise floor, I think, but that's like a lot of the cards in there. Mostly, pretty much the only regular holos are like the Charizard, Gyarados, and like the Mew or whatever. But guys, I think that is gonna do it for today. I appreciate everybody coming here to hang out in the Poke Cave. And one other quick super chat from Humberto. What do you think about Topps booster packs? So Topps, right? They have, what's going for Topps is that it's old school. They're old. I mean, you have like the old vintage stuff going for it. So that's going to be like lower supply, it being older, and stuff like that. And overall, they're cool. I mean, they're getting popular. So Topps is definitely a big thing. But yeah, guys, so that is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope you had a fun time. I hope you learned something new here. If you haven't already, on your way out, I would appreciate if you don't mind smashing that like button. It really helps out the channel. It'll help out the video, and it'll help this get more people and help more people out. But yeah, guys, I hope you had a fun time. I appreciate you guys, as always, coming here to hang. Tomorrow, we're going to be opening up a ton of team up blisters, so it's going to be fun. I think there's like 288 packs. So that'll be a fun time for those tag team cards. I hope to see you guys there tomorrow in the Poke Cave. As always, guys, have a great day, and I will see you on the next one.